Gentlemen, you want to start with questions? Who would like to begin?
Well, do we get an opening comment from the applicant?
Would you? I think that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
So my name is Tiffany Campbell. I've only lived in San Clemente for about 3 years. But isn't this place remarkable? And in my 3 years here, I've already participated in San Clemente Arts Association as somebody who shows there and then volunteers. I have art in a couple of little shops downtown, which is really neat. And then happenstance, my next door neighbor owns Ola Ceramics, which is the new ceramics shop that's right on Community Ave, right? So I have been an artist for probably, well, I graduated from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, which is the same school that Walt Disney went to, Georgia O'Keeffe, Ed Paschke, much to the dismay of my parents, though I did go to art school. But I ended up joining the Navy and then pursued a career in the Department of Defense. So I'm done with that now. And now that I am, let's say, kind of semi-retired, I am re-embracing, art. So, what can I bring to the committee, right? Even though I'm new, I have a passion for the arts. I'm deeply involved in kind of, the arts crawl down in Molina Street, right? All of these kind of new, exciting things that are developing, right? But I also appreciate and understand, like, the historic beauty and the culture that is here, right? I live right on the beach, so I am lucky that I get to see the Ole Hansen Beach Club every time I walk my dog, and I think things like that, of course, are important. So I would hope, if I was selected, to balance kind of suggestions about, yes, let's maintain all of the beauty that we have, but let's not neglect like these new wonderful artists that are trying to be part of the community, bring enrichment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, do you have any questions?
Just two. You mentioned in here about your work with veterans.
Yes.
And could you tell me a little bit more about that and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So when I was stationed in Texas in San Antonio, there's actually quite a vibrant veteran arts community, right? So they have a great volunteer program where we all show, support one another, give classes, and then there are competitions. So you're selected to show at various places throughout San Antonio and then statewide. So that was just a lot of different things all at once down in sweet old Texas. But I mean, there's not any reason why we couldn't mimic something similarly here.
Great. And then my other question, you mentioned including younger citizens to being involved in the arts.
Yes.
How would you go about that?
Yes. So I think as a young artist, right, it's really difficult because we want to make art, but it's not often financially easy to do that, right? So when I was answering this question, I was thinking about my neighbor who opened up Ola Ceramics, and his story was that he spent almost 2 years trying to rent out that property because, and this may be polarizing, but the person, I guess, that owns that property is a landlord also of buildings in Irvine. And it was more beneficial for them tax-wise to leave it vacant than to rent it to a new burgeoning artist who, I mean, is so successful now, he's almost outgrown that space. I went to art school, so I'm not good at math, and I do hire somebody to do my taxes, but I would hope that we could think of ways together to make sure that young artists who would like to do that as a profession have a space here in San Clemente.
Great. Thank you.
Rick, do you have any questions?
Yeah, your resume is great. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh,
And
no,
I'm
it's a pleasure.
kind of going to ask everybody the same question because we have so many applicants for so few positions.
Yes.
Would you be willing, and don't know how this is going to come out, but like I said, I'm asking everybody,
Sure.
to serve on an ad hoc committee if you weren't put on the committee? Would you like to work with that committee for special events and whatever, anything your expertise
Any
with?
way I could help, I would. And I'd like to say, too, my background in the Department of Defense was in planning. Right now, I am still a consultant, so I fly out to Virginia quite often and consult on just planning processes, communication, etc. So however you want to leverage that, I would absolutely love to participate.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So you said you lived in what part of town? And
DJ Court.
Yes.
so what would be your ideas for that community?
Oh my gosh. So, y'all, if I could just pair up with the gardening committee and make our little signs, maybe like a little bit more aesthetically pleasing because so many tourists walk that path, right? What a great place for people to take pictures, post on Instagram, right? The Pier Bowl is so beautiful. There's no reason why we couldn't. I mean, I'm sure we could find volunteers to go down there and kind of spruce it up a little bit, but that's one of the things. And then North Beach, right? If there's a way to, we do everything kind of up by the library and that by Del Mar. We have the Ole Hansen Beach Club, which also has a wonderful lawn. Could we not do like a little art show or something down there every once in a while too?
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, at the top of the Austin Cultural Committee function, there's an item about outdoor amphitheater. I don't know if we're still considering that. Do you have any thought on that? Where should it be? How we can make it happen?
Oh, this poor girl. We're putting that on you. We're trying to have you solve one of our problems.
It's okay. I've had my
I'll
coffee,
also add
so
parking to that.
E-bike, what do you want? E-bike.
I've been looking at it for 20 years, so you got to solve it in the next 20 seconds.
well, what an honor to be able to participate in this problem-solving quandary. I guess I would submit, why would it have to be in one location? Right? There's no reason why, like I mentioned, the Ole Hansen Beach Club, to set up, like we did at the Maxburg Park for, what celebration did we just have there?
At Maxburg Park?
Yes.
Cinco de Mayo.
Sorry.
Cinco de Mayo?
Why couldn't we do, like, not to sound trite, but like pop-ups, right? So that way, one place wouldn't be overburdened with parking or other kind of resources that they had to pull in. We wouldn't negatively impact any area, right, repetitively. It could be something that would be fun, community-based. I don't know,
Thank you.
maybe.
How long were you in the Navy?
I was only in the Navy for one enlistment. I did 6 years, and then after that I became a DoD civilian.
And what is your rank in the Navy when you?
IS-1. Intelligence Specialist, Petty Officer, First Class.
And you're doing intelligence work now for the Department of Defense? Is that?
I've moved on to planning.
But you're consulting now. You're not a full-time employee, obviously.
Yes, I'm just consulting now.
How often do you consult?
At least once a month, I'll fly out to Virginia.
Okay. Okay. And 3 years in San Clemente. That's not very long. In a sentence or two, with that limited amount of time, tell me about why you would be you commented a little bit in your opening remark, but why do you think you'd be a great addition to this committee?
Sure. So I've had friends who have lived here for more than 17 years, right? They were in the Marines. And after I had gotten done with all of my deployments and my work with the Department of Defense, right? To be quite honest with you, I have had 10 deployments to all of the garden spots.
How many deployments?
10.
10?
10 deployments. Choosing a place to finally settle down, relax, feel comfortable, feel welcome. I mean, I can walk.
So this isn't a new town, too. You've been here 3 years, but
Yes.
it's your first
I've always
exposure to a
visited.
town. You've been here
It's
involved for a long time.
Yes.
Thank you. That
Thank you.
answers my questions.
Have a
Appreciate
wonderful rest of your
your
day.
applying.
Thank you,
Thank
Terry.
you.
And then do I wait here?
Pardon?
Not here specifically, but do I
Outside?
wait in the?
Yeah, wait outside, and then when we're done with all the interviews, we'll
announce our.
be announcing the
Thank you.
decisions.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Did you have
Sherman, yes.
the ballots? Did you leave those on the podium?
They were on our
Yes.
desk.
Would you like me to go grab them?
No,
for
if
you?
it's there, I'll grab it. I just didn't
Okay,
see it
yeah.
when we came in.
They're on the desk.
Do we vote on
If
each?
you don't have it, you don't get a vote.
I know. That's part of the new protocol.
That's the new program.
Do we vote on each committee after we finish?
Yes.
Yes.
Not everything toward the end.
No,
Okay.
you vote on them so that
Yeah.
the group.
Otherwise we forget.
Are we going to vote on them when we're done with that committee?
With
Yeah.
the committee,
And
yeah.
then, here, and then go out there and
Yeah, we go out there.
That's
guess
it.
we could number out. You could calculate them out there. Greetings, Sherman. How are you, sir? Welcome again. Good to see you.
Well, let me make the rounds.
Sure, why not, yeah.
That's meeting.
I'm gonna give you a fist bump. Just
Victor's not feeling well.
He's not feeling well.
You're injured, this is a mess there.
I'm injured.
Yeah, this is gonna work. It's Victor here to be sick and
No, yeah, we're not gonna let that happen.
Okay, Sherman, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've spoken before a number of times, and tell us a little bit about why you're applying and what you'd like to accomplish.
Okay. I know all you guys know me, and I'm pretty passionate about this committee. The last time I was in front of you guys, I gave that speech. This time I'd like to share with you the importance of this committee. I'm applying again because I felt before this committee really needed a voice. Someone that had enough passion, that covered all the cultural beliefs of the city, members of the city and its constituents. But I feel like that a voice was needed that would not be afraid to elevate to the point to drive home the importance of having passion for this committee, the importance of the outward facing for this committee, and the importance of realizing that culture takes years, decades, to establish itself. It's not a regular committee like you got a planning committee, they plan for the cities to build. You have parks and recreation, okay, that's activities to engage. This committee, I feel, being part of this committee, you are reaching out to the people, you bringing in that culture, and you're elevating that culture to a point that it actually has a real impact on the city. It actually gives the city an outward appearance. Hey, we are accepting. We identify, our cultural differences within the community, and we're here and we're willing to support that, and not be afraid to shelf it, bury it, because culture is something that can't be buried. Culture grows and grows. People come, people go. But the culture builds a society, and that culture is built on the people that actually were part of that society, that community to be established. So that's the reason I'm here. And it wouldn't be very neighborly for me to fight for something and then not show back up and continue that fight. So that's why I came back again to apply. I really enjoyed being the chair for the committee. I felt like that as the chair, that position was that not only showed leadership, but the ability to manage a scenario, the ability to actually keep everyone on the same page and pull in the same direction. Even though there are different personalities, different thoughts, ideas, or what a committee is. There are some that's on the committee that would say, hey, listen, we should do this. Well, as the chair, I realized my responsibility is to rein us in, realize we're the brain trust when it comes to creativity for the city. We make suggestions, and you have to be willing to have the confidence within yourself to tell that committee, look, we only make suggestions. We don't make decisions. We don't have local government power, but we do have the opportunity to work with the city council to bring them wonderful creative ideas, that we feel like would be a benefit to the community and to the communities in the city, because there are so many different cultures within the city. And so being part of this committee, okay, it's not just an honor, it's a privilege, because you have the opportunity to really be the face, the voice, the strength, of communities, of a whole communities. That otherwise, there are people out there that wouldn't do this. They don't have the confidence to sit in front of a city council, mayors, and plead their case to say why they should be a part of this. And if you're going to be a part of a committee, you have to commit. You have to be willing and believe that committee is so important, that you will stand up and fight for it and for its existence. That's why I came back again, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Mark, do you have questions?
So I'm curious. You've been on for 2 years now.
Yes.
Two questions. One, what is your proudest achievement in this last 2 years? And then the second one is, what do you look to for the next 2 years? What are you hoping to achieve?
Great, good question. My proudest achievement, one that I really liked, was the concert series. The concert series was fantastic. That was just an unbelievable series. The reason I picked that one out, being an artist, but the groups that they brought to that series were amazing, the talent that they had, and that sort of like for me was it showed that hey, we can go out, we can actually talk to talent and bring them into the city and have them perform. The other great piece of this was I feel one of the Spanish piece of it, but the Day of the Dead celebration we had in the park, man, that was awesome. That was amazing to see the culture, the dance, the colors, the art, to be a judge in that committee. I mean, it was great because I saw talent from the little people to the big people. And it was amazing to see the wide range of talent that we had there in that community. So, and your second question.
Going forward, what do you hope to achieve in the next 2 years?
Going forward the next 2 years, what I would like to see is this. Going forward the next 2 years, because we know we have the Olympics coming up. So I would like to see the Arts and Culture Committee bring suggestions to the City Council that would actually get us more involved or put us on a platform to make us elevate, to the public's world for San Clemente being part of the Olympics, to put that bright light on us, to say, hey, listen, we're just not, a beer room town. We're not a sleepy town. We are active. We do a lot. And for a city, we do a lot of things, for a small city. But that's what I would like to see, because being part of the Olympics not only puts a spotlight on San Clemente, but I think it could elevate the city, and this is just me speaking, I think it could elevate the city to actually get more endorsements, get more businesses that want to come to the city, and that will help generate revenue for the city. Because once they find out for us using the avenue of the Olympics, I think that is an excellent opportunity for us to bring other outside businesses that would be willing to invest funds into San Clemente, and at the same time bring other events. Because I was.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. We've got limited time for everybody. So, Rick, did you have any questions? You answered those questions very well.
Mark asked the exact questions I was going to ask, so I'm good.
Okay.
I think Mark asked the same question I asked, and all I will say is that the committee probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for your advocacy.
Thank you.
I'd agree with that. No, I have
Questions?
no questions.
You mentioned at the beginning you described the culture of the community and having cultures be represented. What is your two things? How would you describe San Clemente's culture, and what cultures are you referring to that you want to make sure are included that are currently not included?
Good question. So let's see. As far as the culture, San Clemente culture, I see San Clemente. A lot of people see it as a beach town, but San Clemente has a lot of hidden gems. Sure, it's sand and surf. Okay, that's the culture, and that's the one that gets promoted a lot. But you also have very talented musicians, in this city. Very talented artists in this city, that don't always get elevated, especially from the music scene. The music scene here in San Clemente, I've run into so many talented musicians from all walks. And I don't think that they get enough spotlight. We don't have events that showcase that talent, and I have an idea for that too. So that's something I think that we could actually elevate and start sparking too. Like San Juan has the Coach House. I played a big gig, the Viper Room. But San Clemente doesn't have really a hall where you can have concerts to promote this kind of talent. As far as the cultures, I know that Hispanic culture gets a lot of leeway, but I think of cultures, let's say the Black culture, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese. See, all these cultures, those are still cultures, but you don't hear about them. And all of those cultures should be elevated as well. We shouldn't be so focused on just say sand and surf or just the Hispanic culture, because there are more pockets, and I've been here going over 34 years. And believe me, I saw it when there was no color, and I see it, and I've seen it when there was more color. So
Good.
So what's your thought on amphitheater?
The amphitheater.
Where can it be, and how do we raise the money to make it happen?
You know what? The amphitheater. I have several thoughts about locations for that. But the way this is what I personally think about raising an amphitheater. First of all, I'll focus on the funds. Generating funds, we can do it with grants. We can do it with smaller shows. Like we used to have what's called the Orange County Music Awards. I won that, nominated 8 times in that. And what we did, we used that platform to generate money. We had investors that came in, like several big music, like Zildjian that makes the drums. We had Guitar Center; they were a sponsor. So there are a lot of big sponsors out there, but they just need an avenue. They need something to put that money into.
And the location for the
A location?
Just,
That's several locations. This is what I would do. Like an amphitheater is one thing, but I was thinking, we have a lot of vacant warehouses around here. Those vacant warehouses can also be coming to concert hall centers. And they can be generated a lot of money. You can have, take a vacant warehouse, turn that into, because you have an existing building, turn that into a performing center, it could be an art center, and you can build it out. And then that way you can actually charge these bands. You can bring bands into the city. You can actually charge individuals, sell tickets for it.
Good, good. Thank you. I think we're about out of time going.
Maybe share this while I'm out. And
Yeah, I will. And you're bringing in Shane.
Shane, okay.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Good seeing
Appreciate
you again.
appreciate you. Appreciate your help.
Thank you, Chairman.
I'm going to let the folks know as they're coming in. We're going to give them 90 seconds for their opening remark and 1 minute for they're going
We're
way
going a
too
little
long.
long, yeah.
Okay.
We're
We'll
gonna
try
run
to
out of
shorten
time.
the time now.
Yeah.
You don't have a. Are you want to be a timekeeper? I've been kind of.
I'll
beginning
be
to keep
happy
time.
to.
In the Carmel by the sea, they have two venues. One is outdoor, it's called Forest Theater, I believe. It's outdoor amphitheater. Then they have a performing center. Carmel by the sea.
So 90 seconds.
Hello, Shane. Welcome.
Cool. How's it going, guys?
Thank you for applying. We're going to. This is time to give us an opening comment of 90 seconds. We're on a short time frame, so a quick intro, and then when we ask questions, we'll give you 1 minute to kind of answer each of the questions. So go right ahead.
Okay, cool. Well, applying as an incumbent, I guess, for this role, it's a newly formed committee. I think, we're finally getting the swing of things with a lot, working really well with Sherman and the rest of the committee members on a lot of projects. We've gotten just some of the things off the ground. We're in talks with surfing and music Walk of Fame potentially. So there's a new subcommittee for that. So I would say a lot of the projects we're kind of gearing with is just to prep for kind of the Olympics coming to town and the centennial. So a lot of the art projects and stuff are taking a really big music and surfing focus. So even outside of the committee, Nick and I, we've kind of started like a little bit of an art walk, art crawl within the neighborhood of Camino de Los Molinos. And so yeah, we've been working with Roman at Los Molinos Beer and a lot of that stuff. And there's actually a very underground kind of art scene kind of brewing, which is really nice because it was much needed in South County. I know Tiffany, you also like she's going to be one of our featured artists coming up. So, yeah, it's I think Roman also applied for this role as well. So yeah, familiar with a lot of the applicants, but it's all to say that this community is really doing great with this, and we've made a lot of progress with this stuff. I know there's even the utility boxes. They're looking at kind of getting some new art refreshed on that. What else we got going on? There's all the events that we've been with Dias de los Muertos. That was a successful.
Great. Victor, do you have any questions?
Yeah, you talked a little bit about it, what you've done already. Talk more about what you hope to accomplish, and if you get a point.
Yeah, so we're on the subcommittee for the amphitheater. I think this has been talked from the get-go of this committee to really bring more live music down here. San Clemente, it just being the halfway point between LA and San Diego, it's a very strategic tour stop for a lot of live music acts. And I know for the art crawl at least, we get we book at least a couple bands for each time for that, but we're still short of a venue a little bit, and that would come through probably a private means. It's not really something the committee can necessarily do about that, but in terms of goals, that would be something to kind of aim towards, just to have more recreational events on the weekends. And I think same goes for surfing as well. I think there's going to be a huge magnifying glass on San Clemente as a surfing destination. Though it has been. I mean, we have that history bit with the Olympics, especially. We've got to really lean into that culture.
Thank you.
All right.
Sen, questions?
We already mentioned
Rick?
it for that one.
You gave the first question in your opening, and Victor asked my second question.
Yeah, no, those are my two questions as well. Yeah, you hit both, and you hit them both, so it was great.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That's very good.
Thank you,
Appreciate you coming in.
Rick,
Yeah.
Roman is next. He called just before 1 o'clock. He was stuck on the side of the roadway. So if he's not here,
Okay, so
Then,
Ryan
Turner.
Ryan,
and
okay.
Ryan-
I'm going to let them know that it's a 90-second opening and
Okay.
a minute
Yeah,
for
that's
just
fine.
so
Perfect.
and Ryan did not RSVP. He's one of the few that we didn't hear from. So if he's not here, then it's Amanda.
Then it's a minute.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
All right,
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
A little light on the.
Back room.
Oh, the other two were not here? The other two?
Mine did not answer up. Roman, I guess, is still stuck in
Okay.
traffic, so we'll see
Okay.
what happens here.
Okay, Amanda, you have 90 seconds only to do your intro.
Okay,
And then when we ask you a question, you have 1 minute
okay.
maximum for each answer.
All right, great.
Go right ahead.
Great, thank you. I was on the Citizens Amphitheater Committee with wonderful people, Wayne Eggleston, Susie Lance, Pamela Roth, and Susan McCleary. And one of the great things is we work all together and collaboratively, and it was very well run. I have that experience. I also have, and we were working with the Citizens Amphitheater Committee, but I also reached out to what kind of activities that could be done at like Mackford Park, at Bella Collina, or other places like that. I think that as an advocate, and I've done a lot of research and been able to be at a lot of governmental meetings that that could promote and enhance, our committee or youth or community, as well as my Hispanic background. I think that will be beneficial as well to kind of see bring diversity. Also, I am also Chinese. And
You're Chinese?
I'm also Chinese, yes, so then I have those traditions as well. But I think that I am also indigenous, but not too much as far, well, percentage-wise, yes, but more so the Chinese and the Hispanic traditions.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, your questions?
You mentioned in your opening comments that you were a hula dancer.
Yes, I used to dance with Kumu Kani down in Encinitas, and then with Halal Hula Ola Ani in Laguna Hills, or actually Lake Forest, and I used to hula dance in Tahitian. And then also with Tina and Ivana, I used to ballet dance as well for years. Yeah.
Fascinating. Serious question.
Yes.
Tell me about your working relationship when you were on the amphitheater committee.
I think we worked very well together. We met within less than an hour because we were just so prepared, and we really didn't even have a chair. From what I remember, it was just so well run that Wayne and Susie and Chrissy McCleary had a lot of experience being on commissions and committees, and then Pamela Roth, who was an attorney. So we worked well together, and we were just prepared and on it, just kind of like the finance committee or the golf committee where they just meet within a certain amount of time and get it done and work and problem solve really on the spot.
What do you hope to accomplish if you were appointed?
I think it's just the bringing our community together, especially at Macksburg Park, and I think that has been one of the candidates or one of the San Clemente residents had mentioned that we need more activities there, and I do agree with that. I think that bringing like Tai Chi, and that's a suggestion that I mentioned to Samantha Wiley, the director of Beaches, Parks and Recreation, that bringing Tai Chi would be really great, and that could be done on that cement area. And then I think I mentioned at the Beaches, Parks and Recreation town hall that we had that it was already brought up about Holly putting some kind of theater some kind of for children's theater. And I think that was discussed at the Citizens Amphitheater Committee. So some of the ideas are kind of overlapping. And I know with Bella Colina, they have an amphitheater that amphitheater there, so we could try to
Question,
utilize that.
do you think the amphitheater concept is dead in this town?
I think it should be worked on. I think there's an ability to do that. I know there's a problem with financing, but I think
Location, what are your thoughts on
the
location?
locations. I know if we could try to, I know our open spaces are a concern there, but I think that there might be an ability, an acquisition for the TCA land, which would be at the end of Pico, and that might be something that might be doable, and trying to reach out to them, to Ryan Chamberlain, maybe propose that.
Okay, good. Any other questions, Joe?
Just
Oh, go
real
ahead.
quick, because it's such a crowded field, as you can see. If
is.
for some reason you weren't selected to be on the committee, would you be willing to work in an ad hoc subcommittee with this organization
Oh.
in for special, like whatever components, whether it be your Tai Chi place or gardening or something,
Yes.
art, so you'd be willing to work with
Oh,
them?
absolutely, because I know when the Arts and Cultural Committee first came on, I was attending about 3 meetings just to make sure if they had any questions regarding about what we did at the Citizens Amphitheater Committee, and I was listening to what they were saying. So,
Okay.
and then I decided that I should just step away so that they could just work on their own rather than someone hovering around.
Thank you very much.
Well, go see if Roman or Ryan are here.
And if they're not, could you do me a favor, could you bring from my stack the ballots?
Yes,
Thank you
absolutely.
very much.
Will do.
Okay, great, thank you
And
so
if
much.
they're not
Thank
here,
you,
Rick,
Amanda.
just come on back and we'll do the.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we rank them our first choice, second, third, fourth, by priority, and then they get the opposite points. So if my first choice,
It's 4.
It's 4
Is it
points.
first, second, third? If there's 3 or
well,
first,
yeah,
second?
then in this case,
I think
three.
we would rank maybe 3, maybe 4, but we don't want
Well, we have 3
rank
seats to
someone on the
open.
last spot.
We have 3
right?
seats to open, so we vote for our selection for the 3.
Yeah,
And then we do we count the votes for each
3 is
candidate.
fine.
And see if they're the 3 high point getters. Is that
Yeah,
the
that
concept?
should be fine.
Okay.
Neither have shown up, and I don't
Okay.
even know why Ryan's
Okay.
applying. That guy's got so many balls balancing, but he does so much for the community. I know, I'm saying it's close.
He had a really good
So do we-
application.
do
He does.
And
Yeah.
I do just want to make it clear, Roman, he was having car trouble, so he was waiting for a tow truck, so it wasn't that he was.
I
Yeah,
understand, but I
just-
don't know what
yeah.
else
But
we
we
can
have
do.
this
Yeah.
written document.
Right.
Okay, you
I
want
just-
to vote now? Give them to her, and then when we come back in public meeting, she can do the calculations. Is that, or do you want to do it vote out there? We're just marking
Let's
ballots.
just mark him here, I think.
Yeah.
Bring some mark here and
Okay,
give
all
it
right.
to
That's
So we rank 1, 2, 3, 4.
on our
Is that-
in our
I think we're
preference.
just doing 3.
3 or 4.
Three. Oh,
I
oh,
don't know.
3 openings, 3 votes.
So-
are there 3 openings?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
your highest priority
Oh,
is the.
but you wanted to double the applicant pools?
No. It was for the BPNR. because
Oh,
they're only
okay.
There's some-
All right. So we vote for 3 in order.
Well, so
Yeah.
your top person will get the number 3 next to it.
Okay, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no. Your first choice is not 1.
No. Your
for
first choice
points.
will get.
your first point. Your first
Because
choice will get 3.
you're gonna get confused the next time.
Well, no, I think if we do it,
No, because we're trying to get the
The
person
total
with the
number of
with the
points.
highest points.
No, my thought is Laura would have reversed it and do the.
Oh,
Well, no, I'm not
I
going
leave
to
it
put that
to
on
her.
Laura.
No.
Okay.
We
Okay.
the person we want, our number 1 choice
Gets
gets
3
3.
points.
Number 2 gets 2,
Okay.
and the third choice gets 1.
We write the score down, not the ranking down.
Exactly.
Okay,
yes.
good.
So remind us when we do the other one. because-
We'll
We'll
be on
go
to talk about this.
Oh, do we need to put our name? Or
Yeah,
their
we
names
do.
on it?
Can I put your name on mine?
You're not getting out of
Yeah, I
this.
know. I'm trying.
Okay, I guess we'll start with beaches and parks then, once we've finish this vote.
Now, do we go out and actually give the results?
I can do it if you'd like, or if you'd like to.
Well, if we
it's
do
the
that
same
now, they
thing.
don't have to stick around.
Exactly.
Somebody,
I just
somebody
meant,
should do it.
I just meant, should I? You can walk out with me, or I can just tally them up and
Why
make
don't
the
you go ahead and
announcement.
tell them up and we'll see
Well,
what.
so
Okay.
let's-
I think we have to revote.
yeah. Yeah, we have to revote. That's exactly right.
Well, but it says vote 2 or vote number 2. Okay.
That's if we have to go again. We kill a lot of trees in this.
We'll get the AI machine in here to do all the proper calculations.
Well, I know there's some.
Then we'll get different results.
I think there's some AI on some of these applications.
So there's a software program that I use with my students, and when they have a
We're
Yeah,
we're in a public meeting while
My
she's
bad.
calculating, yeah.
I think the mayor should go out and just announce the.
I can do that.
okay, yeah,
It's those of running in and out of the room, you know.
Yeah, it just takes
and-
more time.
And I think Laura doing it by herself is
Maybe
probably.
along with the city clerk.
Sure, I mean, sure, yeah, but I don't think she should have to go out there by herself. And I think somebody from the city, hey, maybe we all take turns going out there with her is fine also. I mean, Zen, do you want to do it every time? You can be the representative.
I think Laura is also.
No, Laura should go out and announce it, but I think one of us should be at least out there when it happens. I think that's reasonable.
that way we
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
their disappointed looks.
Exactly, exactly. But I think Zen's
That's
just,
the toughest part, is that someone is
the pool is
Yeah.
so deep.
they're
It
just
is.
so
All
talented.
great.
And that's why I'm hoping that people stay involved. I mean, there's a lot of places, even if you aren't sitting on
Yeah.
the committee, you have a lot of opportunity to still work with these committees. I'm disappointed enough not more people think.
Your district is the most artists to see because many of those artists live in your.
I'm looking at the applicants, absolutely.
Such a diverse district.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. I mean, that's what I love about it.
It is a good district. Yeah. I mean, all districts are good districts.
Yeah,
This
the
town.
whole city's great. It's just, yeah, it's, I
The
mean,
best city in the United States. It's the best city in the United States.
Yeah, I was at a meeting this past Sunday or Saturday in San Diego, and I had a number of people come to me and say, San Clemente is the best. These are people from San Diego. San Clemente, we think, is the best city. And we used to think San Diego, that's where we lived here.
Yeah.
But San Clemente in Orange County.
It is.
Okay, so Sherman Fowler, number 1, Shane Hirschman is number 2, and Tiffany Campbell is number 3.
Okay. Okay, let's, do I need to report the,
you know, and you don't need to get up every time, Steve, so.
I'm happy to walk out and just make the announcement.
And then what's the next committee that we're interviewing for?
Beaches, Parks, and Recreation is next,
So
and,
the-
and Susan Ambrose is first up, and she's on Zoom.
give me
So,
the vote again,
Sherman Fowler,
was 1?
he was number 1, Shane Hirschman number 2, Tiffany Campbell number 3.
Okay, and we need a formal motion to appoint these 3. Do you want to go ahead and make that motion now? We can announce
I'll
it.
move to appoint those three.
Second? All
I'll
in favor?
second. Or I.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Aye.
Okay, so that's those are our appointees, and I guess we need to go announce it.
I will go make the announcement,
And the other thing, when you're out there is, if we're on the beaches and parks and recs, Susan Ambrose is the first interview. We're doing it on Zoom,
exactly.
just so they know.
Yep, I will let them know. I'll be right back.
And the other thing, that took us over an hour.
I know. That's why.
It's already an hour.
Yes, that's why I suggested
Three,
to Steve
four,
that we.
five,
Yeah, do the 90
seven.
We
90
do
seconds, yeah.
Seven.
Let's limit our questions.
Well, that's up to you.
Our closed session at 4:30 or
5.
5.
5. Okay.
Also, we had we had 20 minutes before we even got in here. But
Yeah, we were a little bit extended. So, yeah,
we can go a little faster.
I appreciate the questions that you guys are asking. They're all the ones I would ask, and
Yeah.
that's, yeah. It's,
You guys okay if I let Susan in?
yeah.
Yeah.
She had some audio issues before.
Well, yeah,
so
try
I
to
wanna
get
make sure
it,
we
try to
all-
get it squared away now. seconds.
I had a special microphone because she was having trouble hearing.
Hi, can you hear us, Susan?
I
Not
think
yet.
we're still muted.
Okay. Can you hear us, Susan? Oh, I can't hear her.
Okay, I think you're muted.
I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear.
Yeah, it's already 10 after 2.
Yeah, we need to get rolling here.
Rolled it.
I can't see any of you.
Oh, there you
Susan,
are.
can you hear us?
I can barely hear you.
Okay, Susan, we're going to get started, and we're going to give you 90 seconds to give an opening comment on your application. Then we'll be asking questions. You'll have 60 seconds to answer each question, okay? Did you hear that?
Seconds to answer each question.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Yes.
you have 90 seconds for an 90 seconds for an opening comment, and then you'll have 1 minute to answer each question. Okay?
Oh, that sounds great.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thanks. I'd just like to tell you that I've sat at the seated on the Coastal Advisory Committee at the behest of appointment of several city councils. I've actively participated in this CAC over the years, much of the years in leadership positions of chair or vice chair. However, my leadership attitude is really every member has a voice that is counted. You can see by my response to other questions that are going to come up that I'm very involved. I have been a beach person for forever. We've raised our children on the beaches. They both became senior lifeguards, etc. But I look to the community very much. I know a lot of people because those people are the same kind of people who are people who are warriors who are keeping our beaches clean. And I rest myself with those words. I hope that you think that the skills that I've brought over these years, almost 14 of these years, of course not for all of you, you know me for 14 years, but I've worked really hard and put my heart into what we're doing to work together as a group of people for the community and for the leaders as you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wu, do you have a question?
I have no question.
Mark?
Yes, just what are you most proud of? And you have a 1 minute chance to respond to this. What are you most proud of in your work so far in this committee?
You know, I want to give you an example of that. I was just looking at this, and I was always the person who said, hey, let's just not tell people what we want. Let's tell them how we can get that. And so here's just an example. This is a paper I picked up in 2021 that we incorporated and sent for beaches, parks, and recreation transition recommendations. So one of the first things, the City Council voted June 1. I'm going to go over my 90 seconds, darn it. Let's just put the group on Coastal Advisory believe the following steps should be taken to ensure a smooth transition into the BPR. Incorporate the mission statement of CAC into BPR. Review both 2020 annual work plan and June 29th work plan. Identify key items to incorporate into the 2021-22 B&R work plan.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. That's, thank you. You had a 1 minute response, and that's up. So, Rick, did you have a
I
question?
have a question.
Oh.
Yeah. Just, what do you hope to accomplish if reappointed?
You know, if reappointed, I would be doing the same kind of thing, continue to focus on movement forward on the Army Corps of Engineers, develop a regional solution with South Orange County sand lots, get involved in regional actions. And I am happy to say I know that you're doing a lot of these, but these came out from 21 from our group. Review the existing background documents pertaining to sand loss, including Orange County Sediment Management Plan, the San Clemente Sea Level Rise Vulnerability Study, documents related to the federal sand replenishment. And I had some input into, for example, the sea level rise vulnerability study. They asked to host it for them. We ran it in Orange County, and we had a good turnout when this came, and they got a lot of questions. You can ask Leslie about that. And she's doing a great job, by the way. And also reviews the sand compatibility
Thank you.
and opportunistic
Yeah, thank
use
you.
program.
Thank you, that's your 1 minute.
Okay, Susan, just a quick question for me. It's such a crowded field. If for some reason you aren't selected, would you be willing to still stay involved and work on a ad hoc subcommittee with the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation, if asked?
Who is saying that?
Rick Leffler.
Rick, you just took the words out of my mouth. When I was going to leave, I was going to say, if you don't choose me to be on the BP&R commission, I would be willing to do an adjunct position with you, just for exactly what Rick just brought up. I have so much experience in working with people, and they may have ideas, but they don't know how to put them to work.
Perfect.
And I have been, that is probably one of the proudest things. I go back to your other question.
Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen? No. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Thanks.
you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I'm glad that we have
I'll go.
perhaps
Thank you,
a
Rick.
great mix, including me in the other way that Rick had just suggested.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cade.
You don't want to bring her back at any point? No.
This is a new microphone for the conference. We usually have those about this big sitting in the middle of the desk.
We do. It's not working as of this morning. So,
Hello, Chris. Welcome.
Hello.
how are you?
Hi, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Mark, nice to meet you.
Hi, Steve Noblock. Good to see you. Greetings.
Nice meeting you, Chris.
Nice to meet you. We met once before. You may not remember.
And I just coughed in my hand.
Hi.
Victor's a giver, you know?
Chris, Chris, you have 90 seconds for your opening statement. We'll ask questions. You have 1 minute to answer each of the questions, so let's kick it right off. Go right ahead.
Yeah, awesome. My name is Chris Barney. Fairly new, as you can see on the application. Moved here. We've lived in several places across the country. We kept looking for the right place to be, and we chose San Clemente because we love the outdoor time together. We used to live in Dallas. The 2 weeks of the year that's nice to be outside, we enjoyed that, but the rest of it we didn't. And then winters in DC and Utah, where we also lived, were just too cold. Shoveled 20 feet of snow my last year in Utah, so I was like, don't want that. And we decided this is where we want to be. That's where we ended up vacationing, coming to visit, and chose this place. I have a young family. They use the parks almost every day. You should see my little girl. She's 2 years old, blonde hair, super tan, because she's at the park every morning. They have a great time. My older kids, I have a 9-year-old. He plays Little League. I've been on the Little League board this last year. Since we chose a city, we are diving in headfirst to get involved. My wife and I both have backgrounds in politics. When I was in college, I did city council liaison for the student council. We lobbied the state legislature in Utah, and then we both worked in federal government for a few years in Washington, D.C. So it's just kind of naturally where we want to be here. We want to make a positive impact on the community.
Thank you. Thank
Was I
you.
close?
That was pretty
Yeah,
close.
about 4 seconds. Good job. Good job.
Wow.
Mark, go ahead.
All right, so you've been here for 2 years.
Yep.
No short time.
I know,
But
yes.
within those 2 years, what do you see as the biggest need? Because it looks like you're focusing more so on the beaches, parks, and rec, not so much the ocean area. What do you see as the biggest need for our parks and recreation?
A lot of my backgrounds come from being on Little League and doing that. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for increased cooperation between our youth programs, particularly ones that aren't led by the city, but like AYSO, Little League, and then the softball. There's a lot of room for improvement there, and I think that there's a lot of fault on the side of Little League in particular that I've had my eyes on. But I think there's a lot of room to have better collaborative work there. with things we can work on together, like improving the baseball fields. There's some problems with baseball fields need to be improved. So that's where my view's mostly been. I think the parks have been really great. Like I said, my kids love them, and we love going to the beaches. I understand there is a lot of beach issues. I'm not well versed on the water issues, the beach, but I do have a background in handling similar issues. I used to represent the Western States Land Commission Association, so handling state trust lands. California's part
Thank
of
you.
that.
Rick, you have any other questions? No.
Your time in town's been short, but I'm really glad you want to get involved. It's a crowded field, as you can see.
Yep.
Would you be willing, if not selected, to work like on an ad hoc committee on beaches and parks issues to help out with that while you kind of learn more about the city and whatever? Would that be something that you could
Yep,
put a little
I
time
think that's
to?
fine. Yeah, I definitely think I still have plenty to offer and to be an actual member of the board, but I'd be happy to help any way I can. Especially, I think there's a good opportunity for maybe a liaison placement system where we have better communication with like groups like Little League and the other external groups, bring them all together. Maybe a subcommittee, a subcommission in that kind of world. But it's been surprising to me how quickly we've been able to integrate ourselves in the community. We've made more friends here than we ever made in Texas and Utah and DC within just 2 years.
Even with that Southern hospitality?
Yeah. Well, my wife's a Texan.
My daughter lives in Dallas, so I appreciate that.
You'll make friends in DC.
Nobody's friends in DC.
I think they are for a minute.
Victor,
So we don't
do you
need you
have-
anymore.
Yeah, I do have. Besides the softball, is there other areas of interest that you see a potential change in?
I think that that's a good one. I think the other part that's been really interesting for me, though I don't have the background, is the beaches. I think I was in favor of the increasing the sales tax last year so that we could invest more in the beach protection. And I know there's a very complicated system involving the Army Corps of Engineers. I used to see them march around on Capitol Hill when I worked in DC. It's really funny. They have those little special epaulets on their collar. But I think that's a big concern where we need to make sure that we're making the investment now. It's going to cost more in the future. It might not be a possibility to do much in the future if we don't keep that supply of sand going now. And that's what makes people want to live here, is being closely to the beach. You can get a lot of other great amenities living further in R&D or Ladera, but that's what we have here.
Thank you.
I don't have a question other than to say I appreciate your willingness to serve.
Oh, thank you.
And we do have a very crowded field, especially for this committee.
Yeah, Chris,
Yeah.
with your background in
Sure.
technology operations, can you imagine any overlap of your technology skills with our parks and beaches operations?
Yeah, I think, so what I work for Coinbase, we work here. I'm on the operations side where we improve systems to more efficiently perform tasks, particularly what I do is listings operations.
Overlap with parks?
And
Integration?
overall the parks is I think there's a lot of opportunity for improving that, for looking at ways that we can improve operations within the parks systems. Like, are we using the right kind of contractors for maintaining the parks? Or are we communicating effectively with our other parties or within the government itself? I know we've had a lot of trouble with communication just on the Little League, back and forth. I think most operations really is just figuring out how to get the right message to the right people at the right time.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your willingness to apply, and welcome to San Clemente, and
Awesome.
keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have the names for the next?
Brian.
Yeah,
Haskins.
okay, thank you.
I remember him.
Good job.
So you're doing the timer on each of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we on the schedule? Are we running out of time?
Well, closed session starts at 5, so it's.
I think we're doing
We're doing
okay.
pretty good now.
We're doing good?
Yeah.
If we keep moving, we'll be all right.
And there are a number of people that are not able to attend. About 6, and then
Everyone else on this list is coming?
everyone
as
else
far
is
as
on
you
the.
know?
Megan just let me know one person from Community Safety and Welfare,
Okay.
Shannon O'Toole, had to leave.
Yeah, and on the last one, I announced the 3 winners. I didn't mention the ranking of the others. I probably ought to do that just so that there's sort of full disclosure.
We'll include that in the minutes.
Okay.
Too.
Let it happen in the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to say you're the number one amateur.
Yeah.
Just a 3 to be.
And then
Okay.
the ranking sheets are public information, so if
They're
anyone.
all laughing out there, man. Andy's like doing an MC thing. I got everybody laughing.
How are you? Welcome.
Mayor, council.
Welcome. Okay, Brian, you've got 90 seconds for an opening comment. We'll ask you questions. You got 1 minute in response to each question. We're kind of on a timeline, so go
Got
right
it.
ahead. Thank you for being here.
I don't have much planned, so I'll just kind of tell you how I got to San Clemente. I'm a Marine Corps brat. My dad was assigned his last assignment in 1972 to Camp Pendleton, and I was a freshman in high school. That time, we were surprised to find that there was no pool at the high school. So he and some other high school parents got together and created a nonprofit called SCAT, the San Clemente Aquatics Team, and floated a bond measure, got the pool built, and started the swim team. So after doing that for a couple of years, I tried out for lifeguard and was hired for the lifeguard at the city of San Clemente and did that for 10 years. And then went on to UC Irvine and medical school and the Air Force because I didn't have any money for medical school. And then came back and worked in mainly clinics, the medical director at Saddleback College, and some jobs at UC Irvine, and then finally went back to lifeguarding with the state and lifeguarded for another 24 years at the state lifeguards here in San Clemente.
Cool. Mark, questions?
So I'm trying to understand your application a little bit. Would you think your focus would be more on coastal advisory path or more on the beach, parks, and rec?
I was on the Coastal Advisory Committee in the past.
So that's where you want to stay more focused in this
No,
one?
I enjoyed that. It was challenging and rewarding, but I found the difference between a commission and a committee. And at the committee, I felt we worked hard and we made some recommendations, and to find that sometimes the answer is thanks for the recommendation, but it didn't go much past that. Whereas on a commission, you have a little bit more, I'd say, input into the process.
So let me follow up then with the beach, parks, and rec aspect. What do you see as what would you like to achieve?
I think that the beaches, parks, and recs is excellent now, and that the role of somebody like me would just be to kind of try to push it from excellent to outstanding, just to make a few little tweaks. And I'm kind of the nerdy type, and I read the meeting minutes, and I read the staff reports, and I do the homework. So when I show up to a meeting, I don't talk a lot, but I hope that I might make some worthwhile suggestions that might make it to you. I mean, my job would be to try to make your job easier, and I think in a 2-year term I could try to do that. But I mean, in my mind, it almost, the way it's structured, it should be beaches and coastal instead of beaches, parks, and rec. It seems like there's a lot of overlap with that, but having spent 34 years on the beach, I feel like I know the lifeguard operations, enforcement issues. I did follow the sand issues.
You work with Nick Sofa?
I did. I know him. Yeah, great guy.
Tracy Sizemore?
Tracy Sizemore was lifeguard in the city of San Clemente, early 70s.
Yeah.
Also a pararescue guy too.
Victor, question?
Yeah, do you have any big ideas that are on your agenda about? I know you talked about the pool that I guess your father. Is there anything like that you
No,
see?
I don't have an agenda, but I am interested in the interplay between the nonprofits in the city. For example, the Friends of San Clemente Beaches, Park, and Rec. I think we're instrumental in getting the Vista Hermosa complex built, in the same way that the SCAT was instrumental in getting the pool at the high school. And I actually incorporated the San Clemente Lifeguard and Junior Lifeguard Foundation. They had been meeting. It was an idea of Bill Humphreys, the previous chief before Rod and Lott. But after 2 years of meetings, nothing had really happened. So Greg Holsizer and I got together and found an attorney and
sat down and did the kind of the hard work, the paperwork to create the nonprofit. And so now there's a pretty good interaction where that foundation nonprofit, I think, adds a lot of value to the junior lifeguard program and scholarships to kids that can't afford it and things like that. So I'm kind of interested in that, but I don't have any, particular agenda to Thank you. try to implement. Mr. Wu?
Well, you answered the other question. I already answered my question, so thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions either.
I'll just-
but, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the worst one. There's so many good people, and there's so few opportunities. If you weren't selected, would you be willing to work on an ad hoc subcommittee, especially in the area maybe liaison with the lifeguards?
Of course.
To do something like that, because I think that would be a really good opportunity for them to have some input from an expert in that field. So you'd be willing to step up. I know you've already stepped up with
Of course.
a lot of things. So okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate your
Thank you,
time.
Brian.
Okay. And what's
the
next
next
committee after this? They're all asking.
Community safety and welfare.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Are we going to take them in this regular order?
Yeah, pretty much. We're may as well. We're on track.
If you'd like to.
Now again, there's there's two openings. So our top choice would get 2 points. Our second choice would get 1 point.
Is that,
No,
although,
we said
for-
we would rank 4 of them, because if we only rank 2, it would be very spread out, very thin.
Okay, so in this one, we want to rank 4 people in our.
Then the top.
I'm
2
confused. How do we rank them? 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah,
Yes.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And the
Then the top 2 get appointed.
okay, and when we vote your number one choice, we mark a 4 down for them.
Yes.
Yeah, we
let's
need
flip
to
the
keep
number.
consistency.
Yes. That'll be-
If we have
I hope
software,
I
it
did,
will
I hope I
automatically
did that
do
in
it.
the first ranking.
Andy is in his
I did
element,
that
man.
first,
I'll
right?
tell you.
See dancing out
He's
there?
working them.
Hi, welcome. Have a seat, Thor. We have a limited time, so we have a 90-second opening comment for you, or you have a 90-second opening comment for us. We have 1 minute. You have 1 minute to answer each of our questions as we go. So go right ahead.
All right, great. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and City Council. As you know, my name is Thor Johnson, and I've had the honor and privilege to serve on this BP&R commission for the past 2 years. And 2 years ago, when I campaigned for this role or applied for it, I promised to use my business skills and my leadership skills to enhance the quality of this commission and the assets that we oversee. And I also campaigned in my application to keep our facilities clean, safe, secure, and also to establish more events for our residents. And I'm very pleased to announce that I accomplished every single one of my promises. I co-authored a resolution that was adopted by the City Council that paves a way to fundraise for naming rights for our parks and our venues while preserving our culture and our heritage. I also earned the trust and the support of my fellow commissioners to get appointed as vice chair, which I still serve. And I also battled fellow commissioners who want to make our beaches and parks more accessible and livable for the homeless. And lastly, for increasing the events, I helped establish the vegan market in North Beach, which turned a vacant, desolate lot, with homeless and transients there, into a place where children and families go and thrive. So I would appreciate your support in this reappointment.
Thank you. Rick, do you want to start with questions?
If reappointed, what's your goal? What's your immediate goal for something that you're going to accomplish for beaches?
That's going to be my question.
And it might be something. It might be something you've already started. But what do you want to accomplish in this next year?
Yeah. Well, in addition to, I've been speaking with the community, and they want to see more events like surf competitions. They want to use the pump track for events like that, and then. Me being on the fundraising subcommittee since I established that resolution that you adopted, now I want to see what we could do to fundraise, for the community and stuff like that.
I have a question. If you're reappointed, we have a lot of people, but very skilled people. I mean, how would you utilize them in like subcommittees as volunteers? Have you thought about that?
For people who don't get appointed
to the committee.
Yes, 100%. I think I'm a very high believer in social equity. So the more people that you could train to do things and first teach them and then give them the trust. That's what I would do. So I'm very open to that, and I think it's a great idea, and I'm willing to do that.
All right.
Thor, you applied for the planning commission as well. Of the two applications that you've made, I appreciate your willingness to want to serve our town. Which one is your strongest desire?
Planning commission.
Okay, thank you. Sam?
So you mentioned that you fought against a commissioner who
Yes.
wants to make the beach for homeless. Would you elaborate?
Yes, yes. So there's a fellow commissioner who wanted to, first off, replace every single bench in San Clemente with a New York style bench, so it would be more comfortable for the homeless to sleep on. And the same commissioner also wanted to put outlets at the parks so the homeless could charge their e-bikes and stuff like that. So anytime when he would ask for my support or bring it up during the meetings, I immediately said no, I won't support this at all.
Mark?
You mentioned that you have that you developed cost-effective solutions for sand replenishment. Can you elaborate on what that was?
Yeah, so I've reached out to local, and when I mean local, I mean here based in Southern California, different companies to explore different technologies to bring sand. And so if there was sand that is closer, we could use different technology to get that to the beach. At this point, we're exploring where the different sand is.
Who have you talked with?
So this marine company is called Nielsen Beaumont, and they've been in the marine industry for 40 years, and they've overseen different developments in San Diego.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Gentlemen, any other questions?
If you have to pick one out of the two, or you already answered that question.
Yeah, you said planning. Thor, thank you very much for your time.
you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
service to our city.
Thank you.
Thank you to each and one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah, see that. You will. 100%. Sahar?
Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
See you. Thank you. Thanks for having
Welcome.
me.
Sahar, we are going to give you an opportunity to give an opening comment for about 90 seconds, about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And then we'll ask some questions. You have about 1 minute to answer the questions when we give them to you. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for applying, and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hopefully you guys got a chance to read my application and got to go through it. I don't know which one to lead with, experience or heart. I'm going to lead with heart. I'm going to say I love the city of San Clemente. Been here since 2018, but really have always wanted to live here and wanted to make it a reality. And I'm just a huge booster for the city. And I feel really strongly about being a steward of, and I hate to use finance talk, but like the assets that we have in the city, right? Like we have incredible beaches, incredible facilities, incredible programs. I have young kids, so we are high touch with everything in the city. The beach, tennis, golf, swim, gymnastics programs, all the city events that you guys do. So I just, I lead with really kind of a really positive experiences that I've had with the city. My background's in finance, corporate development. I have been in renewable fuels and sustainability since 2013. Built a business from scratch really twice. I was head of sustainability for a publicly traded company, responsible for goal setting and achieving those goals within the company. That can get very political. That can be difficult dealing with CEOs, CFOs. But because I was really business development first, I had a lot of agency within that company. So I think I know how to work with, high-level folks and also, really operational folks and getting things done. That's that.
Mark.
So you've lived here 8 years now. What would you see and what would you like to see completed in your tenure if you were to be appointed? What would you like to see done with the beaches, parks, and recreation?
Yeah, I'd be mindful of budget and revenue considerations first. You know, I think it's beaches. Obviously, we have a lot of coastal erosion, so I try to figure out, you know, what are we doing to be proactive? How are we making it sustainable? Personally, I'm a huge tennis player, so I love to see our facilities getting used and being like optimized, right? Like I've done volunteer programs at my son's elementary school for tennis, so I think that what we can continue to do is really just grow the programs, grow accessibility, make sure, you know, things are for all types of people, right? Not just like the one who's a great tennis player, right? Like someone who has never picked up a tennis racket. For example, that's just tennis. There's pickleball, there's golf, there's just a lot of things that we can be doing. And then also I am obviously on the sustainability side, we are a low shade city. We can have more trees in the city. So to the extent that we can go after some grants, we can go after certain programs. Personally, with real estate, I have a goal to plant more trees. So trees are a big deal. Shade.
Yeah, with the crowded field that we have here, it's incredible the number of applicants that we have,
Yeah.
and you know, yeah, this is a tough one. But if for some reason you weren't selected, would
Yeah.
you be willing to work on an ad hoc subcommittee with the beaches and parks on some kind of the specific things that you were talking
I would
about?
love that. I would love that. If it means like, you know, growing into a commissioner position, I'm totally fine with that. I recognize I haven't come to like city council meetings and been involved, right? So I want to like start to introduce myself. So
I appreciate it. And I appreciate you've taken the investment and the commitment to raise your family in the city. It's definitely financially it's a challenge. I know some seeing young kids in this city in Las Palmas, especially the community,
Yes.
is just fantastic. So thank you for being willing to participate.
absolutely.
Sahar, can you tell us briefly what you did when you volunteered on Fiesta, the Ocean Festival, putting on the glitz? What things
Oh,
did you do?
no. Didn't volunteer at those. Just said, I think I said that I was just at those events and I
Oh, I thought
joined
you
all those
volunteered at
events.
those events.
No, volunteer
okay.
at Las Palmas.
Okay, got
Yes.
it. Got it.
Yeah,
At
Las
school.
Palmas Elementary.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you mentioned you started a couple of businesses briefly. What businesses and what happened to them?
So what I'm talking about is actually within my role. I was employee number 4 at Clean Energy Renewable Fuels, and we built that business over 5 years and sold it to BP for $155 million. And then we actually stayed on, rebuilt the business, and then now I work for a very large trading company based in Geneva that has a really big gas and power business in Houston. Luckily, I get to be remote, so I have built renewable power businesses.
Thank you.
No, I think my questions
We
were
got other
answered.
questions? No other questions? If there are none, Sahar, thank you very
Okay,
much
thank
for
you
your
so much.
application.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank
Appreciate
you.
hearing from you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
What grade are your kids in Las Palmas?
So our kids were in the same kindergarten class.
Okay.
Armand is going into 3rd grade.
Oh,
and
Armand,
then my
okay.
little one will be there in 2 years.
Yeah, my daughter loves Armand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
She knows her son. Your son.
My daughter.
daughter.
Yeah, they're in the city.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So on this one, we pick 4, and our top pick gets 4 points, our next pick gets 3 points, and we put the number of points down by their name.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I may have not done that right on my first vote. I think I did, but
Oh, I left the sheets out. It's
Oh, those
that's
Those are
okay.
yours.
I like the selection, so I'm not
Okay.
changing my vote.
Thanks for my first one.
I counted. No, you didn't.
Your battle will be invalid.
There's no invalidation.
People would request the public record and they say,
I want
okay,
to recount.
you
I
rank
want to
number
recount.
1 and 4, and they would have.
Well, how did this guy get 35 points? Victor gave him 20.
70% of our budget.
Yeah.
So I know.
Welcome.
Greetings. Thank you. Is this my spot here?
That's your spot. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Greetings. Well, we have a packed house, and we're going to allow you an opening statement of about a minute and a half, and then you'll have 1 minute to answer each of the questions that we have. So
Okay, terrific.
thank you, Edwin, for being here, and go right ahead.
Well, thank you. Well, I think my application is kind of self-explanatory. I tried to cover all of the various issues, opinions, and takes regarding my this last 2 years of service on this commission. I was on the Parks and Recreation Commission 30 years ago. The city manager, I think, was Mike Parness, or maybe it was Carvalho, I can't remember, but there were only 5 of us. And the biggest difference was that we had a lot more managerial advisory capacity to the city council. About 10 years ago, there was an efficiency study by Matrix, and they moved virtually all the operations of parks and recs and maintenance over to public works. And my only take on that is that that's great, but there is no public sort of public forum for people to respond or to comment to. Like I get phone calls from the kids of the kids that I used to coach, and they're saying we can't play on San Gregorio at the big field because the grass is, and so then I got to tell Samantha, and Samantha's got to tell Public Works, and It just seems a little bit removed, and I just think that's something, I don't know, that's an administrative managerial question. From my perspective, I think what's going to happen here over the next 2 years of this assignment is we're going to be two years away from the Olympics. 1 year away from the Olympics.
Mark, did you have questions?
So I mean, continue on with that thought. I think that'll answer my question. Is if you were to be reappointed, what do you see as the primary goal of Beaches, Parks, and Rec over the next 2 years?
Well, number one is to make sure that we have very...
Actually, you have a minute to respond.
Thank you. I'll do it really quickly. One of my responses in my application indicated that I currently think that the condition of our parks, an average, is about a C minus, C plus. Okay? So we got to really deal with that. Now, the new ones are A, right? And of course, then we've got the issue of the bathrooms, which is a whole other issue. So what I would like to see us do is to take that aspect and see if we can work some budget issues out. And then secondly, really pay attention to the strategic implementation plan and the elements in the general plan. There's elements in the general plan that say you're going to do this, this, or this, right? Then we take this implementation plan, which we have to follow with the state, and we have to say we're going to do this, this, and this. We do those work plan letters to you guys, but they don't. Not a lot of them don't seem to be tied to that.
This is such a crowded field here, as you can see, since we've kind of reorganized. And there's, with your accounting background, let's say for some reason you weren't reappointed. Would you be willing to work as an ad hoc member of this committee to work in the accounting and finance part of it?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because at the last meeting, and yeah, of course, I'll be glad to help out, but I think you do it better from being involved, in the situation, being sort of in-house. Mm-hmm. The last meeting, I made a motion which actually passed 4-3, so we now we'll get a staff report of 2 standing committees for this commission. One is budget, because the municipal code says we are responsible for the budget. Section 2.2.8, or whatever it is, function of the commission. It says specifically budget. Well, of course you would expect that to happen, right? We're the advisory group to you guys. So we're going to be talking about that at the next meeting, which unfortunately is August. That's another thing with Beaches coming on board. I know I was an advocate of this when we had the discussion. Really, this commission needs to go monthly. I mean, it's just, especially with this beach situation, it's really difficult to deal with this beach situation. It's moving further.
Following up on Rick's question, if I could, on the accounting issue, it's always been a concern of mine that we receive a lot of cash over the counter in our parks and our vending operations, and I've always wondered how on earth do you keep sticky fingers out of the pot?
It's interesting.
And on that accounting issue that Rick asked you about, I'd like you to park on that a little bit and give me your thoughts on how to make sure that the city's getting the benefit.
Exactly that experience, Mr. Mayor, when I was running Little League. I got involved running the snack bar. Well, I was president of Little League, right? We had the snack bar. And it just seemed like we should be making more money, right? So you know what I did? I got a drop safe from Tony's, right? Where you have to put the money in and turn the little handle. And I put in a cash register. And as soon as I put in the cash register, you opened up with the bank. I used to work in a grocery store. You open up in the bank, right? You sell what you have to sell. You got to take that money, count it, put it in a bag. And of course, in this case, you put it in a drop safe. We used to have it the moms would take it to the bank, except a lot of the money didn't make it to the bank. Oh, I need
Is that
20
something we can do in our systems right now? in your
I think
opinion?
you could. I mean, it's all about control at the point of sale. So if you go over to Costco when we buy cheap cash register, it's not a big deal, right? And then when they sell something, they have to put it in the cash register and ring it up. And just that process, right, tightens everybody up. You know what I mean? Now they're paying more attention.
Good point. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have no
Question?
You've answered my question.
Oh,
What was the question? Can I like those guys in the Senate? I give my 1 minute to.
He answered my question, which was his question. So
I got a bonus question.
Thank you very much for your service and for your time here today.
No, my pleasure,
Appreciate
gentlemen.
it.
Thank you.
And
Take care. Good to see
Rick,
you.
the next candidate, Terry,
Terry
is,
was-
Nicole
she's
Durian.
she's out of town. So, let-
she's just
Yeah.
winging
Very
it.
close friend.
I mean, is she going to interview? or-
No, so her
Thank you.
her
Thank you.
application
Give
will
my
be
regards.
considered,
Yeah, well,
but
the business was
Larry
Stearns.
Starnes.
with all those kids. She was the homecoming queen.
Lawrence.
Did you know that?
Clarence or Lawrence?
Lawrence.
Wow.
I think I knew that. Yeah, I think I knew that.
Don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
Have Lawrence's? I don't have
You don't?
Lawrence's.
Oh.
Oh, wait, yes, I did.
Okay,
There we
that's what I said.
Sorry.
So Terry Rousseau, very interested in being a candidate, but she's out of town, so she's not
She
being
won't be
interviewed.
interviewing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a commission that put me on a tough spot.
Okay, this is Larry.
Hello, Larry. Welcome.
Hello, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Have a seat.
I'm Mark.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Have a seat and relax. We've got a busy schedule here, so we'd like to hear, if you can give us your opening comments in about 90 seconds. You'll be timed by our city clerk, and then 1 minute for each of the follow-up questions that we'll have. So go right ahead.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Well, good afternoon, council members, and thank you for this opportunity. And so I'm Larry Starnes, and I'm a proud San Clementian and 40-year resident. I purchased my home about 36 years ago in the city, and a large factor was the attraction of the beautiful beaches and parks in the city. I've had the privilege of watching the city grow over those decades and see it evolve into a very attractive and graceful, nice place to live. And I'm sure some of you may have known the city back in the 80s, but it's nice to see what it's become. My decades-long career in the nutrition and wellness industry have given me a strong appreciation for the value and role that our parks and recreational facilities play in the vitality, health, and well-being of our community. I'm an avid user of our beach trail, a longtime user of our aquatic facilities, and the trail network, overall trail network in the backcountry as well. In my retirement, I'm committed to giving back to the community.
That was the buzzer on the 90 seconds. So
Can I go fast?
no, maybe we can incorporate those thoughts in some of the questions we have. Mark, would you like to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned your extensive background in nutrition and wellness. How would you like to see that implemented in the beaches, parks, and rec?
Well, I think to increase access and awareness of the facilities that are available to the community, and do things like extend the beach trail, make sure that our coastal resources are well protected and maintained, and to ensure that
all our beautiful facilities are ready and available for the city to enjoy and to promote public health.
Thank you.
Sure.
And you served on the Beaches and Parks Commission before?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Worked on the master plan.
Yeah, worked on the master plan. Okay, very good.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's Terry Rousseau. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't turn the page. Okay, so, yeah, all the things that you mentioned on your resume here, the things that you've obviously stayed involved in this because you know what's going on with Salty Turf. You've been, So it's a really crowded field. Larry, I think we had this conversation before when I met you. And would you be willing, if not selected, to work as an ad hoc member to start kind of working with this commission on specific, items?
Sure.
To be involved and kind of, it's hard because it's hard to move into this. People get experience and it's difficult to break in. But if you could work with that, commission as an ad hoc, if you weren't selected, it would really give you an opportunity to kind of figure out what's going on and get your name and face out there. And so if you'd be willing to do that, I'd like to at least mark that down as one of the.
Sure, I would love to have that as an option. Okay. I hope you'll pick me.
Larry, I'm asking everybody the exact same question. Okay. Everybody gets that question, so okay.
Yeah, you're not picking on you.
I'm not picking on you.
So what's the answer to the question? Was that a yes? I missed it.
I think it was a yes. I think it was a yes.
I missed the answer. Good.
Is there a project or idea or concept that you have in mind right now that we'd like to pursue on this commission, or what do you see your role?
If there could be something related to the beach trail, I would really like that as far as to, do. I don't know what the factors are with, I suppose, other government agencies for the landslide and restoring that area. But if there's anything related to that, I would love to work on that, and also to extending the beach trail further south.
All right. Thank you.
But not only those, or anything related to the aquatic centers would be wonderful.
Thank you.
I have no more questions.
Okay, no additional questions, it looks like, so thank you very much.
Okay,
for coming in.
So much for
appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right.
Good job.
And we vote for 4. We select 4 and we give them the...
Select 4, ranking them. Your first one is number 4.
Only 2, gosh. This is Rue's fault.
Well, at least you can tell 4 people that I voted for you, right?
Oh man! So this is what we vote for 4.
That's the tough one.
Now, what's the deal on the coastal experience? Because none of them.
No, we have 2 individuals already on that
Okay,
moved
so
over from
good.
Coastal.
Okay, that's awesome.
So you vote for 4, 4 being your first, your highest.
Okay. Can we have a discussion? Though?
Sure.
Just remember, everything is.
It's taped. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's public.
Terry Rousseau didn't attend.
She was out of town,
but
correct.
yeah, which
On
is
business, yes. on business.
understandable. Is she on the?
She's on it. No, she's not on it now.
She's not. She has been.
She has been in the
She's been
past.
chair. I was looking at that. Yeah, she has been on it in the past. Okay. All right.
So we select 4, but only 2 are selected, then we go to the top, it gets the 4 points, 3, 2, 1.
Correct.
Should have kept better notes.
Hopefully, this will be the hardest one. I hope.
Next year, much more spots will be opened up.
That's right.
So next year, aren't there like 9
We're
people?
gonna have 7 openings
Right.
for next year.
Next year, there's gonna be 7. We should have figured that out somehow to balance this out.
When we announce it, we would like to say that.
I think
Right.
I think so.
Encourage them to stay connected and come back to apply.
Yeah, how we couldn't have gotten this to like 4 and 3 or something or something, is really. But yeah, next year is going to be definitely more wide open. We were just talking, so you're going to go out and make the announcement.
Yeah, I'll just mention the two that are selected so they don't have to stick around.
Well, also, is next year, as Em was pointing out, there's going to be 7 openings on this committee. So the people that applied and didn't make it, it's
crazy.
Not because they're not qualified.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's
Not
not.
a lot of openings, a lot of interest.
The math is.
It's an important committee.
This one committee is why I'm glad we went to the scoring system, because I know it's
so much.
and it's still, we might get a tie on this one.
Well, I was wondering about if we have 2, we're going 4. You've got some of that weight and gravitas is going to people that wouldn't be necessarily the top selects. So
Well, if we only pick 2, we have 10 votes spread out, 8 candidates. So we're going to see a lot of 1 or 2.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But
I'm just going to do this one more. I like to do
yeah,
2
do
votes.
it 3 times. Yeah, the same way.
You
At
don't
least
have
2
to
out
go
of the 3.
You don't have to go back. Oops, I made a
Bear with
Sorry.
me.
Sorry, you're not on the commission.
Exactly.
Laura, count my campaign statement. 150, what was it, the limit of the number of the words?
Oh, and the thing, yeah.
Yeah. In the past, it was the former city clerk.
Counted words differently.
Norma Irwin, you're talking about?
No, with Joanne.
Joanne.
Yeah.
So she would have counted once, get a number. And she said, count again, slightly different.
Yeah.
Because the words don't count
Yeah,
as
not
words.
every word. San Clemente doesn't count as a word.
It counts as one word, not
one
2.
word.
One word,
Yeah, the
yeah.
proper nouns count as one word. Yeah.
I so hope there's not a tie. I want to go through this again.
It's easy to break.
Yeah, well, I think the mayor should just break it. Mayor, just go out there and.
Majority rules. Majority rules. We break.
Well, no, I know.
Or we could just do a micro vote, and narrow it down, and have a more numerical.
Yeah, well, the first one was like the culture thing was easy because there's like 3 openings and 3 people.
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So as we go down more of these, it becomes more problematic.
I was excited about Tiffany. She seemed on the arts and
Yeah, I
culture
think she's
one.
going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be a good new addition, I think.
I think you're right.
Okay, so we have Thor Johnson got the highest number of votes.
Hold on a second. Okay.
And then we have a tie. We have 2 spots, right? So we have a tie between Brian Haskins and Sahar Kamali. They both have 9 points.
Okay, so we vote between those 2?
Let's hear the rest of it.
And
Well, no,
then-
they're just 2, so those are the 2 top ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
So would you like to do a second vote?
I guess that's the way to.
Pardon me?
Who is the
Just
fourth?
vote
The
for
4th is Ed Queskin
Okay.
with 7 votes.
So we vote between Brian Haskins and Sahar. Is
Correct.
that correct?
Well, we keep in mind
Push.
that Thor Johnson may get appointed onto planning commission.
you may or may
So
not.
we need a backup here. Oh, well, the 2, rather, both
Oh, yeah,
sections.
it'll be
Yeah.
between these 2.
Between the 2, yeah.
Okay, between Brian and Sahar, you want to do a vote on a majority vote and see where we stand on it?
Sure.
Well, why don't we just vote on our ballots? So we have
So just vote for one, just to check.
just vote for one
Yeah.
on your ballot, and we turn it in.
Okay, for a second.
Oh, we can have voice vote.
Well, I guess we can. I don't. Since we've got ballots on
So we're
all
not giving,
these.
we're not giving numbers on this, just.
No,
vote.
just
No, just
yes
a
or
check, yeah.
just forever who, and see, 'cause- yeah, Laura keeps these ballots, so
We
at least
do.
it's on record.
Victor, did you vote?
No, I'm gonna voice vote.
Voice vote.
Voice vote.
I just wanna,
Pictures are working on rocket science.
I wanna read.
Oh, the Orange County Register today about testing imported sand. Guess there's an article.
Testing imported sand?
Our
Yeah.
sa- our
British
sand.
Columbia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sand we tested on by the pier. The dump truck that we put.
The black sand that they dumped on our beach.
Yeah, I guess there's an article in the OC Register.
We'll
What
have
did
to
they
read all
say?
about it.
What'd they
I
say?
don't know. I haven't read it. I just got the the notification.
That's my vote number 3. Do I need to remark that?
No, well, I'll mark it number 2. And you've got Brian Haskins. So Brian Haskins is
So Thor and Brian,
correct.
okay.
And then
Okay,
do we want to do a motion on that?
yeah, anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve those 2.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
And what, I guess when you go out there, you don't have to mention who took third, but you might mention that there might be,
Well,
I mean, how do you do that?
you know, I don't know that we need to. You mean, you're talking about Thor for
Yeah.
the second position? Let's let
Just
that
call,
play
just,
out before. It may
just,
not need to.
just call Sahar later
may
if that
not be re-
happens.
Yeah, it may not be
Okay,
relevant at
that's
all.
fine.
Maybe someone wants to lay out.
Yeah, we'll see. He may not get elected. If he does, then
Yeah.
then he's
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
resign.
yeah, yeah.
and
No, that's, you're
let's
right.
let it play out.
But do let him know that there's 7 openings on this next,
Coming up.
next
Yeah,
year.
on the beaches and parks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next
And the
is
next one is community safety.
Yes.
So I guess you can call in court at the same time, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we have a couple people who are not able to attend, and Shannon O'Toole left early, so that'll be a shorter.
She left early. Well, I think next time we do this, it used to be, I applied for Beach and Parks like a million years ago, and I had a specific time frame to be there. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, I didn't have to sit through 3 hours of this.
Yeah.
They said, be there at 1 o'clock. It's going to happen sometime between 1 and 1:30.
I think we can do it that way.
we can break this up
Yeah.
better to where you don't have to come here.
Yeah.
If,
We'll
if you're on
say-
the planning commission, you shouldn't have to be here
Yeah,
at 1
if you're on the
o'clock.
Arts and Culture Committee, be here between 1
Yeah.
and 2. If you're on the Beaches Parks, be here between 1:30 and 2:30.
Right.
We can
Yeah.
figure it by the number of applicants we have.
Yeah.
You know, how much time it's going to take. So,
I
yeah, that's
think you're
brutal
right.
for
It's-
this
it's a
poor planning
long-
commission to sit out there between 1 and
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, no, I think we can.
So out
Especially if
of,
there's 4, we can do 1 each hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
out of 7 members here, some are absent. Shannon O'Toole is absent. Who else?
I didn't hear what Laura said. She said Shannon O'Toole. This is vote for 3.
Board. All right.
Okay. We were just talking, Laura, and I think next year we can figure out time slots instead of making the planning commission wait between 1 and 5.
I agree.
That's
We've
that's
gotten
just wrong.
Yeah, no, and we've actually, that's one of the pieces of feedback that we've got from a few people. Well, we'll wait till Cord leaves, but
Yeah,
It's-
this
well, we can have
ridiculous.
that conversation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Cord, you have a seat right here.
How you guys holding up?
Well, we're holding up fine. And you're getting a whole comedy show out there.
snacks
Well, you want a snack? You want some chips? Us old guys need blood sugar raising every now and then.
Cord, thank you for being here. We're going to give you a 90-second time frame for your opening comments, and then we'll ask questions. You got 1 minute to answer those questions, and we'll be doing the timekeeping. We're kind of on a tight schedule, but thank you for being here, and go right ahead.
I'm on the current, actually, I just timed out of the
Human Affairs.
Human Affairs. Yeah, now it's something new. I think you guys did. You made the right decision in combining the two other systems. The question that I have about them is, well, you know what? Let me just back up. I've been here working since '95. I've lived here since '01. I thought the Human Affairs Committee was great. And I think it would be even better with a little more interaction and direction, because basically we're here to work for you guys and to go in the direction that you want. And I think that's very important. On my own, I was able to get San Clemente grant money from BNSF for the stand. And so I'm involved in the city, and I like to be. I'm somewhat self-actualized, and safety has always been the most important part for me. The first time I ever got to a city council meeting was to talk about a couple of my friends that had issues in town and issues at Ocean View Plaza. So I'll keep it short.
Okay. Mark, would you like
All right,
to
what would you say is while you're on the Human Affairs Committee, what would you say was your biggest achievement there?
My biggest achievement, I think we did two things. One was something I did on my own, which was I pulled together all the data from all the surrounding cities about what kind of safety they had, how many police officers, the population and everything, and I put it in a spreadsheet for you guys. I am data driven. The other thing I did was I put together an AI-based questionnaire, so we can generate our own questionnaire, and it gets washed through a system that makes it very neutral, which was the most important thing for me, is that there is no politics involved in the questions, but it's a way for the city council members to poll the public and get information back from them.
So what is your agenda for the following year, should you get appointed?
I'm very interested in safety, and again, I'm very interested in data, and I think I would like to do a review of the data that is shared between the city and the sheriffs and other areas, because I think if we can put together the most effective data set, then you can make better decisions. And I think that's one place where I'd like to go. I'd like to hear what other people have to do, though, and I'm happy to help.
What kind of data are you talking about?
I think, like, when you have a call for service, you'll fill out what's happened.
Okay.
I actually had a thing called San Clemente Cares, which is a website. I actually put a heat map on it, so if there was a 911 call, it would show up.
Yeah.
And so if you went on that, you could see everything that was happening for the day. And I thought that was very interesting. And the other thing we did, which we also did for the city, is we put together a list of like FAM and places that can help you in and outside of the city. So I put that on the website.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know Court's been a big proponent of, when it was the Public Safety Committee specifically, he's been a proponent for having maybe somebody on there specific public safety experience, and I know Court's been working with that, kind of not on the Public Safety Committee, but the Human Affairs Committee. And I know one of the suggestions he made, he brought it up, but he developed a way where
Is that
if we...
a question?
I want to expand on what he said.
It's a long question.
Could you expand on the whatever it is I don't remember what you call it, about where you could put out surveys easily, because I know that was one of the things that you worked on, so could you explain exactly what that is, what that could be utilized for? That's my question.
I washed the questions through the mission statement of the city. So the city has a parameter. This is what we stand for. This is what we're trying to do. You take that and you wash the question through via AI, and then you'll get a somewhat neutral question or questionnaire that you can ask people. And I thought that was a very fair way to do it. And I
And
think,
how would that be distributed to the residents?
well, you know, that's where it gets more technical. You either, if you want to do it formally, you pay money. Or else, you know, people had talked about doing it in the water bill. But I would do it more San Clemente Times. I put it on the website because this is not technically scientific. What it is to take the temperature.
Okay.
And some people, sometimes you're really surprised. And I think that sitting as a member is also a good way to take the temperature of the citizens. You guys you're all community members. I'm a community member too, and I'm interested in this specific area. And if you poll the members, you get better feedback.
Cord, if the city were to have an emergency and the electricity was shut down, the internet was shut down, and we had a major national or regional disaster going on, as a member of the Public Safety Committee, what would be your recommendations if you found yourself automatically with this in that scenario?
I think what we have to lean on are the systems that are already in place, and I think people would do that. And I think even this building right here would become a node. People would want to find out things. So again, you would lean on fire, you would lean on the sheriffs, you lean on community members, and then we had. I think very simply that's what you'd have to do.
In this city hall, if we had an emergency like that, this city hall could operate with the systems we have going for about 3 days.
Yeah.
Water system with electricity, maybe a month.
Yeah.
And if we had an emergency like that, the sheriff people that work in Temecula and Anaheim and Cypress would be home with their families from their communities. They may not all be here. The citizens of this community would be looking to the Public Safety Committee and leadership, but for answers, and we'd be looking to the community to say, what kind of things can we put in place? Do you think we could or should put in place? My question's gone over a minute.
Sorry.
Put in place to make sure we have social stability and welfare and safety.
I still think that the standard nodes that we talk about, like the each fire station and this building in particular, would be crucial and central. And then what you do is you start to reach out to the other communities, faith-based communities, and you can even do softball. I mean, if you have coaches, you have things that people rally around, and you go, okay, this is what we need from you. Let's go out to your center and your neighborhood. You are the person in the neighborhood, and you make sure that your neighborhood is covered. And then you have to spread it out from there.
Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen? Cord, thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
past service and for applying. See you later.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have the timer go off on you.
That's all right.
Thought I hit reset. I hit start.
That's right.
Keep it moving, right?
Keep me in check there, Laura. You're doing good.
I was about to say, do you have a question in there?
Cookie time.
Yeah, you got some.
Sciatic nerve.
Oh,
Yeah, it's getting better.
what is it called?
Sciatic nerve. Spine down the leg.
I feel like everyone is already
Damaged.
somehow
Injury,
involved in
pinched.
committees already.
Oh,
so
well, it's,
I feel like the new kid on the block.
well, good, we need some, we need that.
Kelly, how are you?
thought.
So I'm good. How are
We
you?
sit right there.
Oh, in the hot seat.
Yeah.
We got one member's going to be here in just a minute, but we're going to give you a 90-second opening statement, then we'll ask some questions, and Laura is the timekeeper, and the answers are about 1 minute for answer, and,
Okay.
and 90 seconds to open, so we'll wait till Mark gets back, and then we'll start. Thank you for applying, by the way.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're a Triton, huh?
I am.
Wow, born and raised.
Yes, my mom too.
Oh, second generation,
She
huh?
was, yeah, she graduated in '67. So she was
Impressive.
the third class, and I had an uncle that was in the first class.
That is
Oh, our
great.
families probably know each other.
Probably.
Yeah. One of my uncles was in the first class also.
Oh, funny.
Sorry for the delay.
Okay, Kelly, tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Kelly Gallion Scholler. I'm born and raised here in San Clemente. Just mentioned that my mom also graduated from San Clemente. I worked at San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station for almost 38 years. I was
Did I move away farther?
for the
away
last for the last 15 years. I was the emergency preparedness manager, and I have a background in radiological protection. And that's one of the reasons why I applied. One is I really wanted to, I mentioned when I came in here, I'm kind of an outlier with everyone in there. I feel like everybody's already part of a committee or somehow engaged. I just retired last August, so it's giving me more time to be able to fill a role like this. So definitely looking forward to that. Felt like I could be helpful to this committee with my background in emergency management, especially coming from the power plant. I know that it's not a huge concern, but definitely still a concern regardless of the reduced risk of the plant. So I bring that to the table. I also have project management skills, of course, working from the power plant. Safety being our number one priority. Also, that still has carried with me for, so many years. So I am married. I have one son. I have one granddaughter and another one on the way. He is due September 5th. What else can I tell you? Something kind of fast.
All right, well, if you don't have anything else, we've got some questions for you.
Okay.
So Victor, do you want to start? Or?
No, go ahead. So
Go ahead,
Mark start.
Yeah. So emergency preparedness, just from your outside view of San Clemente, without being on a committee or within RC, do you have any recommendations of things you'd like to see implemented within our city for those emergency preparedness?
Well, one of the things that I noticed just from my interactions, because one of the things I did as the emergency preparedness manager is I would interact with the 3 local cities and the 2 counties, Orange County and San Diego County. So all of the different cities have the CERT program, but one of the things I noticed in the CERT program is it does not have a radiological or a nuclear component to it. So that would be one thing I would suggest specifically with my background. But other than that, I don't really have any other specifics other than the idea of what the committee does, and that's looking at what the safety concerns are out there, what are the issues, coming up with a project plan, monitoring, and obviously executing, engaging with the community on how to fix some of those issues that are raised by, because that's where they're all gonna, Of course, I always have my issues with, I live behind the high school, so there's Pico. And that always seems to, I hear sirens almost every morning during the school year, so that would probably be one.
They're all coming to Mark's class.
Yeah.
Oh, are you a teacher there?
I'm a teacher there, yeah.
Oh, funny.
I have a question. Actually, it's something we raised. I'm on the community engagement panel.
I know, yeah.
But I raised this week that the commission was created 30 years ago in 1980, and so a lot of the things that we had put in, like the 3 cities, there was close proximity of those 3 cities. And we looking. Irvine was nothing. It was I think it had like 15,000 people. They're not included in any of this. Any other city except for the 3 close cities.
Is there a question there, Victor?
There isn't.
I'm kidding him because I did the same thing.
I do the same thing. But there is also a discussion about the connection between the school. I raised it.
Well, they are still part. They are still part of the interjurisdictional planning committee, which they're considered an associate.
Yeah.
So they are still involved, and they do still get. I didn't hear it mentioned because I observed the meeting as well.
Okay.
They do get money from Orange County.
Okay. Well, I guess those are the concerns I had. Is how do we include a broader group in that? Do you see a way? And also for San Clemente, since we're in the closest proximity, how do we get more of the services or more of the money to let people here in San Clemente? Should there be a release of water? Should there be a release of whatever the report is? How do we get those funds and those to let our community know? Is there a way to do that?
That was a really broad question.
Yeah.
How do you get them to be engaged if there was an emergency at the plant? Is
No,
that
no.
what you mean,
How do
or-
we get? Let me rephrase it.
Okay.
How do we secure more funds for San Clemente to have a better educational or communication plan? Because we're like the
Well, you could always go back to negotiations with, I mean, if you're talking specifically money, funds from
Yeah.
the plant,
Yep.
you would have, because I was actually the one that put the MOA in place
Yeah.
with the 3 cities and the 2 counties. But I agree. I mean, you guys probably do more and would have a bigger response needed if something were to ever happen than any of the other 2 cities or even really the county for that matter. But that's really the only way is to go. There was a Senate Bill 465 that was put into place, or wasn't put into place. It got shut down because the MOA took place of it.
Yeah.
So that's really the only way is to go back and
change
renegotiate and
legislation.
change well, not change the because it didn't go. It wasn't through the legislative process. It was through the MOA that we did just in agreement with SCE, and I can't say we
You
because I don't
can't,
work
you
for
can
SCE
amend that just
anymore.
by virtue of one.
Yeah, you can.
Really?
It takes one person to. Yeah, and
interesting.
you
I
guys
didn't know
have a
that.
copy of the MOA.
Interesting.
I don't share it with them though.
Yeah.
Good to know.
But is it? Let me ask you this: really, is it? You think there is an opportunity there to?
You could definitely do it. I mean,
Okay.
Orange County gets they get a huge chunk of it.
Yeah, yeah, and they get it
Yeah.
for the sheriffs and the fire.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's my only question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, Kelly, do you believe that our city's emergency preparedness plan should include a nuclear waste hazard or risk assessment?
You guys
And
actually already have
you already have it?
procedures. Now, when the plant shut down, in the emergency planning zones essentially went away because the risk is low, and the NRC basically said you cannot have a radiological release that would go beyond the site boundary.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that doesn't cover like the worst. It's the beyond design basis events that that could happen. But so tell me exactly again.
What's your assessment of that risk? You just said it.
So yeah, you guys have the procedures in place, despite the fact that they're no longer required by regulation, by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. You guys still chose to keep, when I say you guys, City of San Clemente, San Juan, Dana Point, Orange, and San Diego counties should have their standard operating procedures. What I was finding though, because I would be the one that managed the funds and would have to look at the expenses, and we worked together on it, was super easy. But I would always have to make sure that the procedures were kept up to date. So when we made changes to our emergency plan, I had to make sure that your standard operating procedures mirrored what changes we were making at the plant. So yes, you guys definitely already have procedures in place. Now, as far as one of the complaints I would get from members of the community when I would go to the community engagement panels before COVID, we would have an education booth set up, and people would always come up to me and say, well, what about the evacuation routes? Well, that's not something that SCE or the plant would do for the cities. It's really your guys' responsibility to make sure that there's evacuation routes.
Any other questions?
Hopefully I answered your question.
Ask the same question I'm asking. Especially we take a committee like this, it's actually we've taken two committees that had 12 people on them and combining them into one committee, like with 7, I guess, and a numbers thing. Let's say for some reason you weren't selected, would you be willing to be engaged in an ad hoc subcommittee to this committee, especially with your expertise on
Of course,
songs
yeah.
and whatever? Would that be something you would be willing to engage in? Oh, okay.
Kelly, if the city had an emergency where the electricity was shut down, the internet was shut down, and our city manager was at home in Chula Vista, and Rick was on vacation in Texas, and Mark was in the Bahamas, and Victor was in DC, and everybody.
He's about talked about July.
Major apocalyptic event. What are your first thoughts on organizing the safety of the community, assuming that fire and police and everyone in a major emergency would be not necessarily parked here, but with their families in other cities where they live? What comes to mind in terms of organizing the community for safety?
Communication, and communication would
Electric's
be
down, internet's down.
Well, if there's plans in place that are clearly communicated to them on what to do if something like that happens, it's.
Well, we don't right now.
form
That's
of
why I'm asking.
communication. You don't have it?
No, we don't. The sheriff's position is, well, we've got neighboring communities, but if those communities are the same trauma we're in, we may not have the
I
support
didn't
that
think
our
we did because I live in San Clemente too and wasn't aware that one
well,
existed.
so my question as a
but,
member, because the community would be looking to the council, and if all of us are unavailable or partially unavailable, your committee becomes vitally important. I'm just curious, what, as a planner for emergency things that you currently do, what comes to mind for you when you think of a
Plans.
scenario like that?
Having plans and somehow.
Okay, the plans don't exist, and they say, well, now what do we do? What?
Well, we would have to develop them, right? If they don't exist, we would have to develop them, getting the community engaged and getting the experts to.
Now, in emergency, you may be the expert.
Okay. I would be preparing plans and communicating what those plans are with the community. You gotta, once you put them together, you gotta cascade them and get them involved, and that ends up being a whole another committee probably in itself, having to do something like that.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer. Gentlemen, anything else? Kelly, thank you.
By chance, did you work with John Stouse while you were
I did.
My father-in-law.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
You worked in maintenance.
Yeah.
Yep, long time.
All right, I'll have to let him know.
Tell him I said hi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Rick, Jim Royer is next.
Oh, Jim Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for telling me.
The other two not.
Stephen Lamb.
So, let's see
Steve
here.
Lamb.
Stephen Lamb is unable to attend. Shannon O'Toole left. She was here. She left.
She left as in I can't stick around this long.
Yes.
Kind of thing?
Bummer. All right, we gotta figure that out for next year.
I do have a suggestion for that we can get to.
So this next one is James Royer. Okay.
James Royer.
We do have a backup cellular communication system too. It's not public, but it is private.
We've also been working on those old communication systems.
Yeah.
have been-
All right, this is
Hello, Mr.
Jim
Royer.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome. Have a seat.
Sir, how are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, sir, we've got sort of on time frame here, so we're going to give it sort of 90 seconds to kind of tell us about yourself, make your pitch. We'll ask some questions. You'll have 1 minute to answer each of the questions, and our city clerk will kind of be keeping time. So thank you for being here. You're
Thank
on,
you
sir.
very much. So I've been a resident of San Clemente since 2004. I live in Short Cliffs. I'm married, have 3 children. My wife's a retired FBI agent. I retired from the police department in 2020 as a captain.
Which department?
Hawthorne.
Thank you.
I oversaw a budget for the police department of about $40 million. I've been in law enforcement for 38 years total. I started off in Washington, D.C. Before I came out here in '84. Throughout my career, I've been worked through all levels of law enforcement, starting off working gangs and narcotics. I was fortunate enough as a young police sergeant, I authored a grant for community development block grant for $275,000 and started a community-based policing project called Crime-Free Multi-Housing. If you know anything about Hawthorne, we're about 6.5 square miles with a population of about 120,000 people. So you can imagine the density of what we have there. And crime within multi-units was extremely high. And so the purpose of this block grant was to go in and interdict and start a community outreach to try and reduce crime within those areas. From there, I went into narcotics. I supervised the nation's largest narcotic surveillance program in the United States with LA Impact. I had about 106 investigators. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Sorry
Rick, do
about
you want
that.
to start?
Sorry about that.
Rick?
Sure. On the public safety, well, it's combined now, but it's still, your portion would be, primarily public safety. And I know when I was on it, tried to work up a really good rapport with our police chiefs. And I know one of the key things that we were always pushing for and trying to emphasize was community-oriented policing. How important do you think that is in a community like this?
It's essential. I mean, it is nearly impossible to build any bridges with your community if your police department does not interact. One of my pet peeves is that I used to ensure that my young officers drove around with their windows down. It just gives off the wrong environment. People need to understand that the police are there to help you. 99% of the people that you come in contact with are good, hardworking citizens who may have run afoul of the law by doing minor things like traffic issues and not stopping at a stop sign. But unfortunately, law enforcement is cast with a broad brush. Whatever happens in one part of the country, everyone assumes that that's the way things are in your particular community. And so having a culture within your law enforcement community and your law enforcement department and building those bridges. And just so you know, the Coffee with a Cop program was started in Hawthorne. A sergeant that worked for me was the person who developed that. That just gives you some of the outreach of some of the things that I'm very proud of.
Good. Mark?
Yeah, so lived in San Clemente for a while now. What do you see as the primary safety concern for our city that you would like to address if appointed?
It's funny because coming from where I come and live and working where I work, a lot of these things are kind of, but it's not. And it is. It's a big deal if you are actually the person that sees it as that. I read various next door postings and things in the thing that obviously, homelessness and those things are always a concern. You want to start a big debate. Just mention the word e-bike, and you just absolutely go crazy. And as a council, I kind of I stayed up on top of how you guys were going and looking at your neighboring communities and waiting for somebody else to come up with a plan. And it's like herding cats because everybody has something different and everybody's constituents have different views on how this thing should be. And then obviously you have to be beholden to the sheriff to go out and enforce what it is that you're doing, and they might be opposed to or looking in a different direction because of the overarching things that they do. So it is a big deal, but for the most part, I can tell you this. I may have to have worked in a less than desirable environment and neighborhood, but I love it down here. This is utopia.
Victor, do you have a question?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a Rick Loeffler out of the LAPD?
No, sir. I have no independent recollection. No, sir. It's funny because, believe it or not, Chief Gates was a friend of ours. My wife is a retired FBI agent, and so Chief Gates was a friend of ours, and his brother Steve lives down here, and so we've known each other for a long time. The law enforcement community is very small, but yet it's very vast, and so the friends that you make and the connections you always have, that one thing. So yes,
I don't have any questions.
No, but no, prior to
Zen,
him running for council, no, we had never.
Yeah, we just ran into each other.
Mr. Wu, do you have a question?
Mr. Roy, if you
Yes,
give
sir.
the city or our police captain 2 or 3 most important advices, what would they be?
I'm sorry. If I was to
If you were to
give
us
him some advice,
some advice, the most important advice of policing of this community, what are they?
in order to achieve true community-oriented policing, you have to have a sense of community with your department and with your people. And that takes time. I mean, it takes a substantial amount of time. And so trying to get people to buy into something where they have really no roots within the community, because they may be here for a year or two and then they move on to somewhere else, and then your chief changes and then another person comes in, and so you're having this constant turnover of ideas and wanting to make your marks on things of that nature. And so I would suggest that if it was possible to have some sort of provision within the contract that people stay here for a while. Stay here for a while to feel what it is in order to work in this community, and not be here for 6 months and then move on to somewhere else or whatever. And that would be my only thing. The job of
Did you have a follow-up question on that?
Yeah. The job of policing this town has got to be challenging. It's a big city. I mean, there's a lot.
James, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
If you're on this committee and next month, there's a regional or national disaster where we have no electricity, no power, no internet, and our normal officials, the police people, the fire people, they're not here. They're at homes in Anaheim, Temecula, and all over, and they're not physically here. As a member of this community on the Public Safety Committee, what are your thoughts on how to best protect our community in the event of a major disaster where the normal mechanisms are simply not in place?
Well, it's so we had at Hawthorne, we came up with plans just like that, especially after the last earthquake where the freeway collapsed and the 10 freeway, and so it gave us food for thought to think about what are we going to do. And so there were plans in place to work with local businesses in order to provide for water and things of that nature. So the Costco's and the big box retailers and stuff like that were going to become fair game for the city in order to get those things. Then the other part is that you have to play with the hand you're dealt, and that's the 5 or 10 people that you have that are currently here. They're not going anywhere. They want to go home. They're going to want to have to be with their loved ones and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But the needs of the city would have to. So coming up with those types of plans is very strategic. And so as far as citizens and things of that nature, you're going to have because the uniqueness of the way you guys do your councils. You have regions, and so having community meetings and talking about disaster preparedness and things of that nature would be a tremendous result. I know I probably talked too much.
Yeah, well, no, that's a good answer. Thank you. Gentlemen, any other questions?
Yep.
Mr. Royer, thank you for your time, your application.
Very much, and, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Gary Walsh is out of town, so this will be your last interview for Community Safety Officer.
It's smelly. No.
Hello.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
And young lady.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for playing. Have a seat. And we're going to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself. You got about a minute and a half to give us a brief summary and what you'd like to accomplish or any thoughts you have. And then we're going to ask some questions. You got about a minute to answer each of our questions. Our city clerk will be our timekeeper. And so, sir, you're on. Tell us about yourself.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Chuck Seward, and I moved to San Clemente a long time ago with a wife and 3 young boys. And you've got all the information in front of you, but my boys grew up in this town, went to San Clemente High School, and so I've been here for a long time. I started kind of my fire department career here as a volunteer fireman in the early days of San Clemente Fire. And when it was still a volunteer fire department, and one chief,
and the rest were all volunteers.
Was that Daley?
Excuse me?
Daley, was he the chief then? Or?
Daley was, Mert Hackett was the original chief.
Okay. I don't mean to burn up your time. I just
No, that's okay.
Going
But,
back.
yeah, Mert Hackett was the original chief, and then Chief Ron Coleman came. And then Daley came afterwards.
Mhm.
But anyhow, that kind of started my career in the fire service. I went through all of the certification programs, both the state and the international. And I also taught fire science and the fire instructor, it's a master instructor for that. It's been a good career.
No, finish up. I burned up some of your time. So I interrupted.
It was a good career. Okay, got to meet a lot of people, got to know a lot about people, and being able to serve was a good thing.
Okay, great. Victor,
I'll start.
Go ahead.
If you can't hear me, let me know. Knowing what you know about San Clemente and the threats of fire and the more recent fire maps have been put out that show this is an increasingly, at least on the mapping part of it, increasingly more dangerous community for threat of fire. What are the kind of things that you could see that we should be involved in as a city to address the fire dangers? And
Well, I think we need to continue to partner with Camp Pendleton, with the fire break.
Mm-hmm.
We need to continue that. We need to be involved with those folks because that's our big defense area, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
I was here when the fire came out of Camp Pendleton and hit at Salvador, upon Salvador a few years ago. And that's our biggest threat. Our biggest threat is coming from outside the city. Inside, we don't have that many. I know you look at the map and you have a good feel for that map, but a lot of that is not. It's based on what weather and topography and things like that. And we don't have that kind of source to put it. You know, we don't have a source of ignition that will give us that kind of thing. And
Mr. Will, question?
it's already being asked, so it's your turn.
Yeah, he's good. Mark?
No, that was my question as well.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, what do you see as the major concern for fire? And I think you answered it. Unless there's anything you'd like to add within the city itself.
We're staffing our 3 fire stations for a major fire. We're staffing our fire department with 4 on-duty people per shift. So we've got 12, plus we also have the other ambulance folks, which are not going to help us a whole lot in the fire suppression side. But a couple things. One of them is I think we need our populace, our citizens in this are pretty well aware of what's going on, and they're doing a lot on their own to mitigate and maintain those kind of things. If you know we get a quick jump on the fire, we have resources available to us that will get it here fairly quickly. We're going to depend on mutual aid. We're going to do. That's the only thing we're going to save us.
Okay, Rick.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your long history of public service. Thank you so much. I can appreciate that. And just, I'm asking everybody the same question. You know, it's a numbers thing. There's a lot of applicants, and if you were not to get appointed, would you still be willing to work as an adjunct member on this committee to offer some expertise, especially in your line of firefighting and fire prevention?
I would consider that, yes.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of experience, both in emergency planning areas
that we could do some major work with. I think our the group that we've got for people, and I can't come up with a name right now, but the people that are doing public service as far as they do, what do they call it?
Fire like mitigate or fire
Yeah,
prevention.
the people that does
mitigation.
first aid and things like that.
Oh,
CERT teams.
like CERT. Okay,
CERT
yeah,
teams,
right.
You know, then we could expand CERT teams, you know, and we can also go as far as maybe fire watch kind of things.
Firewise and Firewise.
And we're coming up on 4th of July. It's going to be, and you know, our biggest problem is going to be the fireworks on the pier. It's not going to be necessarily in the backcountry. There'll be plenty of folks out there.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. If and I've asked this question to others, if the city had a major emergency, national or regional emergency, where things are shut down, the electricity is off, internet's down, and we had a major disaster, and the normal people we look to, the police and fire, are not centralized here. They've been scattered because of they live in Temecula, Cypress, Long Beach, the other communities, Carlsbad, and other places. And you're on the committee, and we have a major disaster, and people are saying, "How do we organize our community for overall safety?" What are your thoughts? What are your first impressions on how to do that?
Well, I'm sure that you're probably aware, San Clemente is a magnet for firemen and policemen. There's a lot of firemen and policemen that live in this city that are retired. Just on my block, there are 3, you know, and they're more than willing to
Step
work,
up.
you know, and they'll come in and work. You just have to organize them, give them a goal, and tell them, here it is. It's what I want you to accomplish, and go over here and leave them be, and then have them
Good
come
answer.
back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
We've got a lot of resources of civilians, retired fire, police, that are available.
Yeah.
Bring them in and use them. They'd love to do that.
Good point.
Like,
Thank you.
you know, I'd love to, you know, do it.
Good answer. Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen? All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your applying, and thank you for your service to our community.
Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chester.
Rick, Gary is not here, so.
So we're done?
We're done, yes. Thank you.
We done? Oh,
I guess we're all done. No, I'm gonna walk out there.
okay, thank you.
Are we voting for 3 or?
3 and 2.
But so we go for our top
Is there
4.
a reason Gary wasn't here, or was he just?
He's out of town.
He's out of town.
Yeah.
How many votes do we cast? 4.
We're voting for
3. Were you voting for 3?
We select
and-
3, but how many do you on here?
So you have 3 total individuals
Right.
to
Select.
select.
That I know.
2 of them need to be or should be public safety background based on the code.
Okay.
But I believe you're only voting for 3. That's
So
council's
we're
decision.
not under your plan. We're not
But
voting
don't
for
we-
more than 3.
We could do.
You could
We
do
could decide
4.
on this.
Yeah,
we could
that's
decide
up to you.
We need to talk about this for 1 second
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
because unfortunately, we're going to have to bifurcate the people with public safety experience, aren't
we
we?
can know when we vote if they qualify or not.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah. Like, well, but
2 of them have to have.
2 minimum. Well, it's a 4 minimum total because we already have 2 on the committee.
so we need 2 with
We
public
need at
safety
least
experience.
2 more
On this vote.
on public safety.
So what we could do a vote right now of just the ones for public safety. Like,
no, it's a 2
or-
minimum. You can pick 3.
Well, I know, but how many people really have public? There's only a couple of people that really have, or 3.
Most of them.
Most of them do. Everybody
Okay.
except even
And-
the ladies.
Well, wait a minute.
And
Even-
you're considering candidates that you
Kelly's.
haven't interviewed also.
Yeah.
Keep that in
That are
mind.
on here.
My question is, how many people, since we're only selecting 3, and I know 2 have to be public safety, how many votes are we casting here? 4?
That
What
is
was
up
your
to
plan?
council.
Up to us.
That's,
I
yeah.
thought that was going to be
What if we
6.
do
If there's
this?
3 openings, I thought we were doing like double the number.
Either 3
But
or
we could-
4.
we could- okay, or
What if we do this? What if we put up 5?
You're suggesting 5.
I'm suggesting 5, and then of those, if we have in the top 2 that are security ones, great, and then we can go from there. If we don't, we can
Okay, let me.
do another.
no, that's
Good
good.
suggestion.
Let me ask you. So Gary Walsh isn't here Is he withdrawn?
No, he's out of town. So there were several
He's out of
people
town.
that are, so
Oh.
everybody that's listed, they should be
Okay, I would ask,
considered.
did everybody read the resumes of everybody?
Well, we've read them all. Do you have a comment on
read
those
them.
that you would like to make?
Well,
You
I
know
just I appreciate some of the public safety that was mentioned here, and I fully appreciate it. I think just make sure you read all the resumes, because
Yeah.
there might be somebody on there who has a lot of public safety in both police and
Well,
fire.
I think we've read them all, but
Yeah,
my
okay.
question
That's
is, do you
why
want
I
to
said
advocate
most of
for,
them
do you have
have
a
public
position or
safety.
thought on him specifically that you'd like to share? If we
Well,
do
well,
that.
I mean,
Does anybody have any comments on any of the
I mean,
people
I'll
that
make,
didn't apply?
if you want me to use my public safety experience,
I'd like to hear it.
I really like from the police side. I like Jim Royer. I did just happen
No,
to run into him.
I didn't mean the people that we've interviewed, I mean the people that did not show up.
Okay, Gary Walsh has been a member of the Public Safety Committee in the past. He kind of stepped out because of the sand thing. He started working on it. He has both police and fire experience. As working with him on the committee, the guy's a real even keel guy. He was part of the homeless subcommittee with me. I'm unfortunately he's not here.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
how
Mark-
many
Mark
people do we rate?
Mark suggested 5.
No.
That we identify 5 in our priority system. Anybody have any other suggestions on the
I would
number?
just
I
say
say 4.
Four. I can agree. I like 4.
I like 4.
Okay.
Okay, 4. Okay.
Just one thing. I've never met her, but I really enjoyed her, or thought it was impressive. Her resume with Shannon O'Toole, working with HUD.
Okay.
I think that might be something to consider in terms, because this is expanding not just for security.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, yeah. So I just thought her resume
Okay.
was very impressive.
Okay.
I'll just say that. Never met her, but yeah. So we're doing.
So we're doing 4, and our
okay.
fourth selection, our first selection gets 4 points, second selection gets, okay, got it.
Correct.
I'm glad you reminded me of that.
What's that?
The 4, 3, 2, 1 is supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, just gotta flip the numbers.
Well, but
Second, a third, and a
but then we have to put it on Laura to do all the math.
I'm glad she's doing it.
Yeah, no kidding.
They say people that are left-handed do a much better job of this stuff, so that's good.
Okay, well,
I hope that's true.
we'll see.
Rick, we'll have you to double check her job.
Have what now?
Have you to double check her math.
Me? I'm not the one. You're the one to double check it, dude, not me.
How many seats will we have next year on this committee?
Next year on
Let's see,
this,
next cycle on this committee.
there are a total of 7 members to be
Right.
appointed.
Yeah,
Since we're filling 3, next time
so
it
there'll
will
be
be
4,
4.
there'll be 4.
Yeah, this has been staggered well, but the beach park recreation we may want to next year appoint someone to a 1-year term. Otherwise, it's 2-7, 2-7.
Yeah,
I hope not.
Might be something to consider.
Yeah.
Where'd all the cookies go? Oh, you stuck them
I threw them in there.
I'm gonna get a cookie.
But
Oh, dinner time.
Oh, Cafe Rio. Now you're talking.
I'm not going to put it out. I'm going to put these away though. Unless someone wants another sandwich.
Yeah, don't put them too far away, those are, yeah.
Those are good
I want to put it in the
sandwiches.
refrigerator.
Yeah,
Where were those from?
Jersey Mike's.
those are pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Those are good sandwiches.
Saving it for later.
We've got 3 more to go, we need to hustle here time-wise.
Yeah.
Two relatively easy ones.
Yeah, advisory's easy.
We're lucky some people didn't show up, or we'd be way
And
behind.
we have a few more. So I just like to double check my work, so I know I'm.
Just guess.
You gotta wing it.
Put in full trust in your.
40 minutes.
Yeah,
we
we're
should be
hurting.
fine.
And the planning commission thing's a little convoluted. Is the next thing golf?
Yep.
There is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Jim Royer has everyone.
Royer?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Cord, and then
Cordbar.
and then Kelly Galleon Scholler
Mm-hmm.
has 9.
Second.
She's second. And then Cord and Gary Walsh are tied at 8. And Gary has public safety background. It is written into the code that it's suggested that there are 4.
Yeah,
public safety.
Royer has background. Kelly kind of does with her.
If you want to
with her
She's
songs, she's into public safety with her.
So we just vote again.
Yeah, we just.
Well, I would make a recommendation that we have Royer, Walsh, and Kelly, because Walsh is public safety, Royer's public safety, and then Kelly would be.
She's public safety too.
But she doesn't have the.
Okay, between Walsh and Bauer. Let's.
I mean,
What are our thoughts on those guys, Walsh and Bauer?
Which is a vote between these two.
Yeah, what do you think on between Gary and you? So you're leaning toward Gary.
I'm leaning
between the two.
Well, which is a vote.
Well, we can discuss it too.
I voted for Walsh because of his public safety background.
Okay.
I know
Victor,
it
you guys have any
exceeds,
preference between those
exceeds
two?
the required minimum number, but I'm willing to go there.
What I liked, you're right, Gary Walsh clearly has the public safety. What I liked about Cordbar, I appreciated his response to my question about how to reach out to our community. I was very impressed with his response there. But I could go either way, but what are your thoughts?
I think we have a lot of public safety on there already, and I mean, he's not everybody's supposed to be public safety.
Yeah.
You need people with different.
Yeah.
So
you'd lean toward Bauer?
Yeah.
What's your preference, Rick?
Man.
We got to decide. I mean, it's one or the other. I mean, that's kind of what it's boiling down to. So we got. What was your preference? Walsh, Bauer. I kind of like Bauer. I like both, but I think I really like
both
Bauer's civilian response. What's your thought, Rick?
I'm trying to think of who's on there now, on the for public safety experience, and I'm balancing it out. Let's see. So who is left on there?
Michael Greenwald.
Mike Greenwald's police.
Tom Hazelton.
He's fire. Okay.
Rosemary Salas.
Well, no, I'm not public safety.
Public safety
You got a police and a fire. Jim is police. It might be nice to balance it out with fire.
Well, yeah, especially in 2 years and cycle through. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What's your preference? Mick? Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, we'll announce it.
Let's go.
You're the swing vote.
I know, and I hate it. I know both those guys.
Well,
They're both great guys.
I may switch my vote depending on what you do. So
You are in a very good position. I hate this.
Can we do a paper vote so we have it on?
You make the call.
Man.
Paper vote?
I like Gary for the makeup of the committee. I like Cord. I wish there was a spot for him, but between he and Kelly, I kind of like Kelly. So I'm just trying to overall. I think that that probably.
Wait.
Kelly's already on. She's already on.
No, between
Walsh and Bowers.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm talking about is the makeup.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about the makeup is. I think for the public safety aspect of it, I think Gary's probably.
Okay, was that a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion
just to
to.
put it on the paper.
Oh, okay. So put your vote on the paper and.
No, I don't think we need to do that. Let's just cast a vote for, we have three
I think
people.
we do need
have
to
a
do it for
majority?
the public
I
record.
think we should
though.
have it for the record.
Laura wants to
Yeah.
have consistency.
Okay, all right, we can certainly do that. So you just need Gary Walsh, or you don't need the other two that you've already
Correct.
selected?
So, I'll make a motion that we appoint James Warrior, Kelly Schroeder, and Gary Walsh.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's done, okay. Let's go out and make the announcement,
A lot of turmoil
and we
in
have
you
the
right
golf committee starting with John Adams. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, gentlemen. We'll try to move this one along a little quicker, we can maybe just,
And for golf, we have at least two people that aren't able to attend, and I
John
believe-
Adams, one of them?
I need to check with Megan. One person backed out. and John Adams-
Can I ask you one other question? Do we have anyone here on the investment advisory?
Is there, present, you mean?
Yeah,
Oh,
We
I don't-
only have two candidates,
I know.
one opening.
Yeah, if
That's a quick one.
I think Victor's saying, are they not here? So,
Yeah.
so we just vote it and get it done.
Yeah.
But,
There's an incumbent on that.
Do we
wasn't
have
there?
to stop the closed session at 5 o'clock? It can
Well-
be delayed for a few minutes if we have to.
oh,
We can
they
go
can
and start it and then come back.
come back to it. Yeah.
Right. An hour to get through these. All right.
Well, the golf should go pretty fast, I think. And then the advisory is only two
Who golfs here?
I do.
people, not me. But I know a bunch of people on there. How about here? That's where you're sitting?
A bystander, if you will.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what,
I'm actually on the golf course
oh,
committee.
okay, you just want to come in the public meeting. God bless you, welcome.
Ron's one of the good guys.
You're the first one that's come in, welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you're here.
I asked Samantha if it was.
Oh, that's perfectly fine, thank you. You're the first person to do that.
Are
so-
you Dival's interpreter or what?
Yeah.
Shody.
Okay, Rick, we have, the first person is not present, so Rick, you're next up. We've got 90 seconds for a sort of a brief overview, and then we'll ask questions. 1 minute maximum on the question answer, so go right ahead, you're on the deck.
All right. Most of you guys know me from ribbon cuttings and everything. I've been in the community for 80 years. Been playing the golf course since 1956. Been through 3 clubhouses, 2 temporaries, 3 golf professionals, and numerous superintendents. So I've seen the course grow up. I missed being there when it was just 9 holes by 2 years, so we'd already gone to 18 holes. I have a background in golf. I'm in insurance. I have an insurance agency now. A background in golf is through a golf professional, Class A PGA. Played the PGA Tour. Was a golf club manufacturer, and worked in a couple of different pro shops. First job was over at Shorecliffs, 1968. Other than that, thank you guys for spending your whole afternoon doing this.
Well, you're here too out there.
Thank you. Gentlemen, do we have any questions?
Yeah, what do you think about the restaurant vendor at the golf course?
I think they're on shaky ground, and they're just not. They're doing a great job in weddings, but not catering to the golfers.
So would, if that was upgraded in the future, do you think that would be an upgrade to the golf course? If it was more like a 19th hole?
Yeah, well, as it started out, I mean, when Donaldson had it, he was doing stuff in the afternoons, and they had evenings for lunch. A lot of the employees from the city would come down there for lunch because it was so good. And then in the evenings, we'd go out and play 9 holes, come back for dinner. It's just not far from that now. But I know that, they're doing a great revenue stream for the city and the weddings, so it's a hard trade-off.
Should it be a wedding venue?
I don't know why that it needs to be there to be a wedding venue. I don't know, maybe lease the spot over by the chipping green to them and have them set up somewhere else, an office, something, but, they've had a million chances, but, to redo it, but there's not connecting.
I heard there's some difficulty for people to book the green tea time. What's your idea to solve that?
To resolve it, I don't know that there is one. If I had one, or anybody had one, they'd be on Forbes Fortune 500, come up with a solution for that. It's just, you just have to get in there at 6 o'clock and take your chances. And everybody has the same spinning. I don't know, I know they had a situation where they thought they were being, hacked in there, and I think they've taken care of that, but it's a tough deal. There's no way to get around it, but we've come a long way since putting a ball in the rack and then you're up when the ball slides down. That's about the only other way. And then we used to sleep in the parking lot at 4 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock. Get out of your car and go into the shop and make a starting time. You take a phone call and a person in line. So I don't know if there's a great solution to that or not.
It's a tough one. It's popular.
So we, it's an extraordinary piece of property. I think it's
the golf course or the clubhouse.
The golf course. Okay. The clubhouse is something else. But you take this, if you were a private business owner with money and revenue, and what would you do to make that a premier golf course, or is that even necessary?
I don't know that it's necessary. We've had people come in and tell us we need to change the golf course and do this and that. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the community coming in droves saying, it's a Billy Bell design, don't change a thing. I know we have to expand the driving range and increase the height of the nets on the right side for protect number 6. But other than that, I wouldn't like to see any changes made. I know we'd have to do one, but I've seen 3 different greens on the second hole already. But we'd have to move the range back because these kids hit it so far. They fly the range and just, I've been sitting on the second green when balls come down there, and I'd sure not like to walk into that.
What about the idea? I mean, there's a lot of people who said that and cities have done this in other areas. The range itself is would attract more people if we had a better range, and not just for you going out there 10 minutes before your round or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if we had a range where people could come in the evening with their sons, daughters, and it was a sort of
Top golf scenario.
Top golf, kind of scenario.
No, I completely see that, but then you've got residents that aren't going to want the lights up there in the night for the range and the noise and the traffic. But I'd like to see that, but I'm not a resident that close.
Yeah.
I'm off the 14th green, and fairway, and I wouldn't be affected, but I can certainly see the people along number 6 and overlooking at the lights and everything.
It wouldn't be all. I mean, it'd have to be late into the night.
10 o'clock or something.
10 o'clock at night. But
I'd like to see that, but I've been down there, to hit a bucket of balls, work on stuff, and you can't even get a bay there now because there's so many people. So
that's what I'm saying. Is there? I mean, do you see? Have you thought about a way to expand or change?
The only thing is to raise the nets and double deck it and go that route.
Okay.
Okay, question for you. You put on your application, City of San Clemente Patriarch since 2019. How'd you get that Patriarch title?
That was just laid on me by the Historical Society and passed by the council.
Well, you are, remember, the oldest residing family.
I had nothing to do with that.
Well, your grandfather, though.
Yeah. And I just got a rumor, my cousin on the pier told me this morning that our building's in escrow that my grandfather built, the mortuary, and they're going to completely tear it down and build a commercial building with condos at the top. And,
Oh, mixed use thing.
Retail.
yeah,
Mixed
so
use.
it's
No more mortuary.
yeah. Can you? Well, Ole was right. He told my grandfather, he says, "You're crazy. There's only 250 people in town." It lasted almost 100 years.
That's the one on South El Camino Real.
Yeah.
Oh,
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Nope.
Nope.
Good, Rick.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for your service and for all you do for
Thank
our
you,
town.
Rick.
Thank you.
thank you, Mr.
I'll just get
Driver.
Yeah, help
We can
yourself.
take one. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Is Grady here?
I believe so, and then that's it for golf. Chris Eldridge is out of town, and Mark Vale is out of town. Dave
Mark
Hack.
Bill's out of town?
Yes, Dave Hack wrote a note on a speaker card saying he remains interested in San Clemente City activities, but with regard to the golf course committee, he's impressed with the several other candidates, and so he withdrew.
Okay.
Grady.
Grady, welcome. Have a seat. We're going to give you 90 seconds. Tell us a little bit about yourself, then we're going to ask questions. You have a minute to answer the questions. Our city clerk will be the timer, so welcome. Thank you for applying, and you're on. Tell us about
Sounds
yourself.
great. Hi, so I'm Grady, born and raised in San Clemente, more or less. I grew up in Capo Beach. I went to SCHS, went off to school for a couple of years, came back, married my high school sweetheart. I've got 2 kids, 3 months and 3.5 years old. Just grew up loving golf. Been golfing at the San Clemente Muni with my dad. We still go out there 2 days a week, usually park it there at 5 a.m. in the dark, wait for the lights to turn on and try to go sneak some golf in. Love the game, love our town, love that golf course. I just want to get involved with the community, and now that I have 2 kids and even less time, I figured I'd just tack on one more thing. And so here I am.
Great. Gentlemen, questions?
Two
Victor,
questions.
go ahead.
How far do you drive the golf course?
Oh boy, here normal day, I don't know, like 285, like long enough.
What do you think you can? What's your suggestion to improve the golf course?
I think our golf course has gotten a lot better. I actually worked there in high school and in college. Golf course has improved massively, I think, in general. I think the bunkers are a clear like shortcoming of the course. I think like there's like inconsistent sand. I know they're expensive to maintain. I think like some of the bunkers are maybe less relevant today than they used to be. People are hitting the ball farther. The equipment is allowing people to do that. So I think like potentially eliminating or moving some of those sand traps.
Okay, that's the physical side of it. What about operation?
Operation. I mean, being there as often as I am, I understand that the people that work there think they're a little short-staffed on the greenskeeping side of things. I know that it's just a high-volume golf course, so I don't have a ton of great answers, like besides like throw more money at it and like hire more people to do things. But I know there's great municipal golf courses like Torrey Pines and a lot of courses like Harding Park up in Northern California where they find ways to maintain reasonable price points for residents, get people from out of town in, maybe or like outside of their jurisdiction, maybe charge a little bit more for like a tourism fee of sorts, and then use that to fund like additional headcount to keep up course quality. Things
Thank
like
you.
that.
Quick question. You mentioned in your resume about getting more youth golf programs. Can you expand on that, what you're thinking, and getting more youth involved?
Yeah, I love that there's clinics. I love seeing Rocky and the couple other employees march around with 25 kids over to the chipping area. That was how I did lessons for the first 7 years of my life. I would just go to the clinics and do that. I love that it's our high school's home course. I would love to see. I guess like now that I have kids, I'm paying more attention to it. But I'd like there to be a little bit more like PR around like golf programs like for the kids in town. I do think getting them like a golf league of sorts, like for maybe those like 12 and up, I know like first tee organizations do stuff like that. People, the game has grown a lot. I think people kind of like the old guard whines about the game having grown, but like I would love to see, just added time for kids to get out and play more clinics if there's demand.
Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. One is about the restaurant. Second is about the wedding component of that. And the third is about the quality of the golf balls at the range. But really about the range, and how do you see changing that?
Yeah, I was there when Wedgwood came in. Like I was working there when Wedgwood came in. I, at face value, like I didn't love it, but it's an underutilized space, and the community wasn't really using it. So like repurposing some of the land and the restaurant to cater weddings, like if it betters the ball, if it makes the golf course more profitable, or make some money for the city to fund other programs, like ultimately, like I'm okay with that. Like it is a little bit annoying from a golf perspective, but like that doesn't bug me as much as like empty space costing money. As far as the quality of the driving range, it could be better. I mean, like I think like the chipping area is great. The golf balls are not. It's high volume. It's the cheapest bucket in town still. I think you paid $20 at San Juan Hills. I have no idea what you pay at Talega. I'm assuming it's more. Could be better.
So the concept of the range, how would you change that if you could?
Gosh, I mean, it's so busy there. Like I would, I've heard talk of like stacking the range. That brings in problems because like I don't hit driver there. I don't want to kill anybody on the second green. I have no idea how much it costs to make those nets go higher. I imagine it's not cheap. But I would say that adding more capacity to that range would be awesome. Because it really does get busy in the summertime. I think better golf balls, like an overall general like better experience around that, because at the end of the day, like you can make that feel a lot nicer, I think, with not a ton of effort. Like good mats, good balls. Maybe get some grass down in that first like 50 yards. They've had trouble keeping that alive. Yeah. But I think some stuff like that, even like a lot of ranges are doing like the top tracer section. Yeah. Like that's a super big draw for people. They like to see their ball flight on a screen. They like to see distances. So like modernize a little bit.
All right.
Any other questions? Yeah. Good questions. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, this isn't an editorial. I'm asking everybody this is because it's a numbers thing, as you can see. And let's say for some reason you're not selected, would you still be willing to work on an ad hoc committee, say for enhancing youth golf or whatever, working with the golf committee?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be something.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I love the course. I love that it's approachable in a part of the world where golf is not that approachable. Like the cost of golf in Southern California is high. And I think that's like a big barrier for people where like that's a lot of discretionary spending. And if you want to get your kid in on it, like that can be tough to justify. So like I'd be all about that.
Thank you. Unless there are any other questions, gentlemen? Yeah. Thank you, Grady. Appreciate you applying.
And
we'll
Rick,
be in touch soon.
that's it for the candidates.
That's it? Okay.
So Mark View is not.
So Dave Hack is not coming in?
So he withdrew his candidacy.
Oh, he withdrew it?
Yes, he said he was impressed with, he's very involved in, very
Okay.
interested.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Who?
Dave
Dave
Hack
Hack
withdrew.
withdrew, and Mark Vale is out of town.
And are we going to vote for 3 then, gentlemen?
Yeah, and Chris isn't here, right?
Correct.
All right.
So he's also.
we vote for 2.
Well, we're selecting 2, but we're going to vote.
We're going to vote for 4.
for 3.
3, now we're voting for 3.
Let's just do 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me sit in?
Thank you. You're more than welcome to stay.
You
Have
sit for the planning commission.
Have a cookie. Have a cookie or a piece of.
Very, very interesting. Good questions.
Yeah, there's so many people now that want to be involved. The hard part is just
Did you hand me your vote?
narrowing
Ken?
it down.
Not yet.
Oh, you're still working on it. Okay.
We just have so many good people.
Are both the Investor Advisory Committee people here?
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay.
I saw Art. I don't know who Chad is.
Okay.
Good beaches and parks. Okay, that's done.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you do it?
Anything left? No? Okay.
Do we have anyone for investment advisor?
We have two people.
And Arthur Carter's on there right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rick Dybel and Ela Grady.
Grady Ela. You said
Yeah, I said Ela. Oh, you're right. Grady Eli.
I said
You're
Eli.
right.
What do
You
we
know,
talk
I'm
about
looking
Eli?
last name first.
Who was Eli?
Who was the second one?
Grady Ela.
Grady Ela. Okay.
Yes. Right, I did say it back.
All righty, I'll go out.
And you want to make a quick motion on that?
Yeah, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Rick and Grady. for
Second? Is all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously.
And I will follow you.
Okay, and
You
Chad
bring
A.
Chad.
Chad Ahern's next, okay.
Thank you.
Are we gonna get through planning? Boy.
It's going to be tight. We're going to have to figure out a way to expedite. I think that guy's already on the golf committee. I
think you wanted to see who.
I think Veal was already on it. I think.
Yeah.
Is what the thing was.
Yeah.
So, well, if not, hey, I'm glad he was in here to see the interviews.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's
Yeah.
good.
Who was the person?
The guy he's already on the golf committee. The
What's
other
his
guy.
name?
I don't
remember. I don't know.
He's on the golf committee now.
Oh, okay. That would be Robert
I'll get it for you.
Zumberg,
Stand up anyway.
Randy Hamilton,
I don't know his
Sam
name.
Page.
I don't know him. I just know he's a friend of Rick Dybel's.
Oh, okay.
And,
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Long time.
oh my God.
Since high school.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Mark.
You as well.
Yeah, good to
It
see
has
you.
been a while.
Yeah. 2000. We went to high school together.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the
And I
third-
haven't seen you.
Well, how come he looks 10 years younger than me?
This position. See, this is a bad thing that I'm doing.
You should have seen me 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
My first question is, you got any good stories about Mark?
Good stories.
How about photos?
No. Mark was the outstanding one for sure. I was the one that probably got in a little bit of trouble.
Well, Chad, we've got, we're kind of on a time pinch
Sure.
here, so we've got
Please.
about 90 seconds to give an
Okay.
opening comment, then we'll ask questions.
Great.
If we have any, you have
Sure.
1 minute to answer. Our city clerk will be the timekeeper,
Okay.
so you're on. Tell us
Okay.
about yourself.
Chad Ahern, third generation San Clemente. My two daughters, 4 years old and 4 months old, are fourth
Hey,
generation.
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. That is the reason why I'm here. I love everything about San Clemente with all of our changes, modifications. I'm really hyper concerned about the next generation of San Clemente and how we continue to evolve. I'm a corporate negotiator in the tech space. I put together a very complicated deal structures, handle of course, the negotiation, the deal shaping, the deal structures, the legalities, the P&L. I'm also on my company's capital committee meeting as a member. I sit with my CEO, CFO, and board. We look at future initiatives that the company is looking to advance and potential large capital commitments that we'll make, and then we weigh those out. I'm
Very
close. I can see everyone
You're
looking up,
close.
so I'm probably close to 90 seconds.
You're very close, very close. Gentlemen, questions? Mark, you want to start since you know Chad?
I mean, this is a really...
Any bones you want to pick for what happened?
Yeah, please do. I'm
right now.
racking my brain.
About sticking them in the locker?
Yeah, about that. No,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what do you hope to achieve on being on this committee? Like, what would be your goal in the next 2 years?
Obviously, we have a lot of capital commitments. The sand is obviously a hot topic. I've read some of the investment reports. I want to ensure that we're hitting the outcomes that we expect from the third party. I'm blanking on their name. That focus on the outcomes and the investments that they're making. Right. I want to make sure that at the bare minimum that we're capturing what the overall market is seeing and that we're trending in the right direction. So those are some kind of topics for me.
Great. Any other questions?
I have none.
Zen, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Chad, share with me about your understanding of the investment committee, the role, and how you can help the committee.
My understanding of the committee is it's one council member and obviously the rest of the board, and we have a third-party administrator. Again, I can't remember their name. I had it, but I've forgotten their name. Third-party administrator that's handling all of the funds. We essentially give them an outline of what our expectations are as far as liquidity, expectations of investments. Ensure that it's matching with the business outcome, the balance sheet the city manager is outlining, and that we're marching and keeping up with that, because that's ensuring that they're managing to those expectations.
And how your experience and knowledge can help on the committee.
Yeah, it's always fun, right? We see a lot of things from a corporate perspective that are very similar. If we want to make investments of 50 office site across the United States, if we want to do some overseas offices, all right, what is that investment going to take? What is the expectation of revenue that we should see from it? And then running through all of those challenges that come from those capital commitments.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Is this your first kind of entering the community service or government community service?
Total corporate America guy my entire life. I've never done this before. I've been thinking I love San Clemente. Again, my children are fourth generation, and while I do care about politics and what's happening, of course, in the Middle East and what we're doing in DC, actually what's most important is what's happening within our city limits. This is where my kids eat and are educated, and where we live, work, and play. And so I want to ensure that San Clemente, hopefully, that we turn over a better San Clemente than we all inherited, right? So,
my question deals with the investment policy. Currently, we have a very, very conservative policy and laws that restrict our ability to invest money to get what a normal person investing in the business, the stock market, equity markets would be able to get. We're very limited, but we do have some flexibility. And soon, the city will be deciding whether or not we're going to be investing in a desalination facility.
Okay.
That involves the selling of bonds to the public.
Sure.
And the return on those bonds are substantially more than we get under the limited investment criteria that we currently have, the restrictions we have. My question to you is, what are your thoughts on going outside the box, so to speak, in terms of the traditional investments with a higher source for something that the city may or may not be investing in, like, let's say, bonds for the desalination facility, if the council were to ever decide to join that project in Doheny Beach.
Yeah, that's one of the focuses that I think I can provide, and that I like to look at is there's obviously challenges, and I'll need to understand what I like to say the banks of the river are. What are the things that we get to work within? But as I reviewed some of our current balance sheet, we've obviously made a lot of commitments to public companies. And we should be having, proper dividend income, and should be seeing some potential appreciation. The market's done extremely well over the last year. I want to ensure that if we want to move forward with that type of project, would it be smart to potentially take advantage of some of the pickup from the market over the last couple of years, or maybe invest more into dividend growth stocks to draw some extra revenue for us.
So basically flexibility with lots of due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to look. In my opinion, you got to look at the
Yeah.
Let's see the constraints, and then let's look at it.
Sure. Gentlemen, any other questions? All right. Well, Chad, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Good seeing you. Very good to see you.
And
We'll have to catch up
much.
sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely.
Who's this?
Planning
Art
is next.
Carter.
Arthur.
But we're gonna. Yeah. Is he here? Do you know?
Art's here, yes.
Oh, he was. I
Uh-huh.
didn't see him out there.
Yeah. And then we do have a public comment, at least one public comment for Planning Commission, so all council will have to go out for
We
that.
have one comment, huh?
At least one public comment.
Didn't
Bart,
we already do public comments?
well, we had oral communications, and then these are each separate agenda items, so people can comment on the individual agenda items. So,
Oh, just listen to them.
yeah.
Okay. 4:30. Okay.
Can they make their public comment in here? Since this is a public meeting.
That was it.
We could.
Yeah, all right.
Art, welcome. Have a
Thank you.
seat. Join us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Absolutely.
We've read your resume, and you have 90 seconds to give us a brief overview. Then we'll ask questions. You have 1 minute to answer those questions, and our city clerk will be the timer. So you're on, Art, and thank you for being here.
All right, well, thank you. In fact, that's where I'd like to begin. I want to thank council for having given me the opportunity to serve on this committee and serve the community in this way. I've really, really enjoyed it. Second thing, I'm a little different than, Victor and I both are a little different than the other committee members. I come from a commercial banking background, worked in wholesale banking for 44 years. And so my mindset is slightly different than the investment people, because I'm coming from a perspective of, okay, what is my risk? How do I get repaid? What can happen that's going to cause me not to get repaid or delay my repayment? And so I'm kind of that mindset. Well, you know that. You serve on the committee too. So, and I'm also concerned about cash flow, thinking about cash flow. And I'm one of the members that actually looks through there and, what's maturing, what are the needs, how's that, if there's a gap, I'll sometimes ask a question about that. So from a skill set perspective, that's the role that I think I'm serving on the committee. Plus corporate banking, large documents. And I'm very comfortable reviewing documents and getting into discussions about what the implications are, et cetera. And then the third thing I was going to talk about was I have been on the committee for a while. I'm going to say there. Oh, that's it.
There's your 90 seconds. Thank you.
Go ahead and finish your thought there.
Okay. So it gives me the ability to understand the policy in pretty heavy detail, as well as procedure, and the purpose of the committee. And then the other thing is I have a historical reference point to work from, having been on the committee during some pretty tough times, 2008 and things that we did. So I'm done.
Thank you. Questions?
Extraordinary talented guy. He always has unique insight.
Is there a question, Victor?
Get into it. Get into it. So I would just say those two things. He has that unique ability to bring things.
Is that a question, Victor? We're looking for questions here.
I'm getting to my question. It's a long wind up. It's a long wind up.
Like, what are you doing for coffee later? I think you're trying to get to that.
So tell me more. And one thing, you never call him a financial planner or he'll hit you. Because he's not a financial planner. But tell us more about your unique skill sets that bring value to the
Yeah, I think it does because, understanding large financial transactions, being able to dial down what I see as a potential risk, how we can mitigate that risk. When we were talking about doing the 115 trust, one of my concerns was, what kind of portfolio do we want to be involved in relative to risk and return balance? And the second thing was, can we get out of a contract? What's the portability of the 115 trust that we're going to be a participant in? And I feel like, what we ended up with, I read through it, I'm very happy with what we got.
It's on our agenda this evening, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did know that.
Any other questions?
I have no other questions.
No.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.
I guess there are no other questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate your
Robert.
involvement.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur.
Okay, dismissed.
Thank you. Okay. So we have one selection, so we vote for two, right?
Just do an X.
Did I get that right? Did I get that right? No, the point is 2 and 1, right? Since we're
Just do an X.
Just do an X.
Yeah.
On this
On the one you want, or check, whatever.
So no wonder you didn't want to do this scoring thing. I can see the problem now.
Way too complicated. Way too complicated. The math is this.
Well, I think it's working out okay.
I can understand a little bit of trig, but this is complicated.
Really? I think it's working out okay. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's working out well.
I think if we would have voted heads up on each one, probably would have ended up the same place.
Okay.
Maybe a little quicker. But
time
will tell.
Blah, 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 Steve. Come on.
I
Jeez.
believe in the simple approach. Keep it
3
together.
for Chad Ahern, 2 for Art Carter. So, Chad.
Chad?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a movement to accept Chad onto the investment advisory
I'll
committee.
second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And was that a yes or
I'm
abstain?
I'm actually an abstain. Yeah.
Okay, 4-1. We have the planning commission next. You want to since we have a public comment, you want to take that public comment out there? We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll start the planning and see if we can race through in the next.
I don't know that we can do a 5-minute break, but just the
Well,
30
we
seconds.
can make a
getting
break
it out.
if we need it.
Yeah.
Here we got the restrooms close
Yeah.
by.
When are
So
we supposed to start our next meeting?
5 o'clock is
5
closed session, and I do have the code if you want to hear the exact code on planning commission. The city council shall endeavor to ensure that at least 2 members of the planning commission have backgrounds in architecture, landscape architecture, or planning. So that's
Endeavor to assure.
Is there procedurally? Can we do? Do we have to do closed sessions at the beginning of the meeting?
we could do
we
it
could
anytime.
continue to the end of the meeting.
Do you think maybe we ought to look towards
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
direction?
Well, I can certainly do that if you
Yeah.
prefer. But we've got dinner here too, so
Miley was asking when she should set up. I
Right
said,
now.
Yeah.
check it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the guys in the planning commission get a buffet.
so let's
Call it. I'll
let's
call
go outside to hear a public comment, and then we'll come back in and finish up with the planning commission. Okay.
Hey, we're going out for about 5 minutes. All right. Okay. Bye. All right, let me. I need to wear a suit today. I was going home. And my meeting lasted.
How you doing, Miley?
She just wants to set up dinner.
That's the seat?
Yeah, that's your seat. Have a seat there, the head of the table. Hello.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you. See you.
Yeah.
It's a public meeting. People come in here.
Okay, Brett, have a seat, and we're going to give you 90 seconds, a minute and a half to give a brief comment about yourself. We've read your resume and your application, and then we'll ask questions. You'll have 1 minute to answer each question, and the city clerk will be kind of keeping the timing, so when you hear the beeper, that's kind of the time indicator. So who are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're all here, so go right ahead. Go right. Yeah, go right ahead.
I set this up like we were doing the 1 minute interview, so
Yeah.
I won't waste your time. Mr. Mayor, council members, over. As you know, my name is Brett Freeman. I've been a resident since 2012 here in San Clemente. I'm honored to be considered for the Planning Commission. With the background in residential redevelopment and deep commitment in our community, I believe I'm well suited to contribute into the growth and development of San Clemente. Over the last several years, I've witnessed various projects that have enhanced the livability and sustainability of our city. My experiences include collaborating with local stakeholders, analyzing permitting regulations, and studying innovative solutions to addressing housing and transportation challenges. I'm passionate about preserving the unique character of San Clemente and while promoting smart growth and benefit all residents. I'm dedicated to transparent decision-making that ensure that the voices of our community are heard, and I'm confident that my skills, experience, and dedication to public service make me a valuable addition to the Planning Commission. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Pre-recorded.
Rick, go right ahead.
What steps have you taken to prepare yourself to sit on the planning commission?
I've gone to several of the meetings, listened to the process. I've actually had several meetings with Cameron, the chairman, and he's kind of mentored me and showing me the process and what's important, what to learn. I've gotten familiar with the general plan and some of the specific plans of the city, and so those are the first steps that I took, and just getting myself familiar with the process. And I think that was the most important thing that I could do, and in learning. And you being a teacher, you know, education, you start with the basics and work your way up. So I know I don't know everything, but as I was as a controller, air traffic controller for 30 years, it wasn't that I had to know all the answers, but I had to know where to look to get the answers.
You think you have attention to detail?
No. quite a sure I do. Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Zen.
Give me a few seconds.
Okay. Victor, did you
So when you started, did you have to actually physically move the planes around?
I wasn't that. I've seen them though, and they're in a museum. Most of them are. But,
Okay.
You know, I have a Victor. Are you okay if
Go
I?
ahead,
So,
yeah.
I have a hypothetical for you, so stick with me here. So there's a hypothetical. There's a new owner of a dilapidated building, wants to turn it into a hotel. However, it's across the street from a residential community. The new hotel will bring in much needed TOT tax, but the residents are worried about noise, rooftop parking, bar parking, and view obstruction. Design is not all design. The design has met all design requirements by our ordinances. You could require changes, such as more parking spaces or no rooftop bar, but the developer might pull out because of delays or expenses. What would be your advice, or how would you tackle that situation?
well, the good news is I'm only 1 of 7. So being the new person on a committee or a commission, I wouldn't have all the answers, and I would take with a grain of salt my experience, put that into the whole thing, and look at it holistically, right? Because I'm not there to make judgments based on one side or the other. I'm there to be the neutral party, and being that neutral party, I take all the information, gather it together, and then with that, you make the decisions based on the codes, the applicable laws, and whatnot. I wouldn't step outside of the bounds. I think it's not a one side versus the other side type of issue. This is the variances. These are the laws. This is the way things are supposed to be set in. Wow, that was quick. I forgot about the 90 seconds.
Complicated question, but short answer.
Yeah.
But my question is similar, but it's a little more abstract.
Yes.
We always need to keep a balance between the preservation of our natural environment, our beauty environment, the quality of life for the people, and the development and the growth we will have to accommodate. What's your thought on that? Where is your balance lying?
As far as balance, growth, protection, and what we have, I think it's right down the middle, right? You have to see A, what does the city council need? B, what do the residents want? And you marry those two. That's where the balance comes in. We have a history, right? We all know what the architecture looks like, and I'm not an architect, but I have eyes. I can figure that out with the help of the other 6 on the board. It's not for me to make the decision that I want to push my agenda forward. I don't see it as me agendizing whatever and trying to push that forward. I think I'm there just to help facilitate what everybody in the room truly wants.
Thank you.
I'm fine.
Shrimp boats.
Yeah, that's it. I don't have any questions. So, Brett, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brett.
Rick, Patrick Griffin is not here, so your next candidate is Thor.
Thank you, Brett.
Take care.
All right.
Patrick is not here. All right.
Was he here earlier?
He was. Yes.
That's too bad that works out this way where, it's sort of like going to the doctor for a 1 o'clock appointment. You're not there till 5.
We used to split it up over 2 days.
Thor, just like the last time, you got 90 seconds, and then we'll ask questions. So you are on.
All right, great. So my name's Thor Johnson. I'm a 13-year resident of San Clemente, and I spent 2 of those on the BP&R Commission. Thank you very much for the reappointment. And I'm applying for Planning Commission because I'm ready to contribute my skills and expertise of local knowledge to guide responsible and sustainable development here in San Clemente. The type of development that the residents want, not what Gavin Newsom wants. And you know me that I live and bleed San Clemente. I'm always in the community. I volunteered or supported literally every nonprofit in town, so I'm very familiar, with our community's needs. And when we appoint a planning commissioner, it's important that we appoint a planning commissioner that understands the unique fabric and character of our city. And it's important to appoint someone like that as opposed to an unelected bureaucrat, who's from out of town. Because when you elect or when you appoint an unelected bureaucrat from, say, a city like Santa Ana, then our city will start to look like Santa Ana. So I believe that I'm the best candidate because I have a unique background. I have a business and entrepreneurial background, and I'm a recent graduate of the San Clemente Leadership course, and I'm very familiar with the different municipal codes, zoning codes, and Henry Lenny architectural design. So it's important, and I just don't understand it. I understand how to apply it, and I'm someone who you can trust. So thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Mr.
So,
Chairman,
in your application, you had some comment about homelessness. Can you clarify your position on that?
Yes. So with my homeless, there are some people who want to make homeless more attractive, and invite the homeless to live here and just give them a donut and then let them freeze on the street or suffer on the street. My solution is humanely relocating them, and of course only if they agree, right, to Santa Ana where all the resources are there that they deserve. I work, do business development as a community-based organization that's contracted with Healthcare Agency, Orange County Healthcare Agency. So I'm familiar that all the resources are in Santa Ana, and that's why I support, that voluntary migration of homeless to Santa Ana, where they could get the resources and the support that they need, instead of just letting them, be drugged out on the street and not taking care of them.
Any more questions? Yeah, Victor, do you have any questions? Mark?
Yeah, just hypothetical situation. There's a new owner of a dilapidated building who wants to turn it into a hotel. However, it is across the street from a residential community. The new hotel will bring in much needed TOT tax, but the residents are worried about noise, rooftop bars, parking, and view obstruction. The design has met all the requirements by our ordinances. You could require make some changes, such as more parking spaces or no rooftop bar, but the developer might pull out because of delays or expenses. What would you do in that situation?
Well, first off, I'm going to treat every situation individual. So I can't just say, I'll do this. It has to be a specific one. But say for the outlets, I know that they probably meet all the requirements and they're looking for a rooftop deck. And, personally, I don't really see a problem with that. So I think the best solution would be to work with the residents to find a solution where they could still have that rooftop deck, but mitigate the sound and stuff like that. Does that kind of answer?
That's great.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have any questions?
That was actually going to be my question. So, no.
Okay, well, Thor, I don't either. So unless there are any other questions, gentlemen, thank you for applying and your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Rick, your next candidate is Jay. So Chris Samuelson.
Jake?
Jay.
Jay.
Jay, and
Christopher's not here?
Sanderson's not up?
He's not
here?
Right. He's on vacation.
On vacation.
Yes.
That's a good question, by the way, Mark. I liked your question.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very practical.
Also, Elizabeth said closed session should only take about 15 minutes, just so you know if you don't want to wait till after the meeting.
So we'll get everything done just in time.
Maybe. I might have a lot of questions.
Come on in. Thank you. I asked the chair there.
Hello.
Jay, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being here. We've got a limited time frame, so we're going to give you a minute and a half to give an opening comment statement. We've read your resume, and then we'll ask questions. You'll have 1 minute to answer the question. So, Jay, you're on. Go right ahead.
Very good. Well, I won't repeat anything that I've already written down. So I'll just talk a little bit about how I got more interested in getting involved with the city. So when we first moved in full-time last year into San Clemente,
we met few people, and one of them happened to be Susie Whitelow. You all might know her. We didn't know her. And she was involved with the sand project. So we met with her to see how we can help, my wife and I. And as we were talking, I asked her if she knew anything about the Mariposa Bridge. And she didn't. But she went home same day and sent me an email and attached a presentation by OCTA. And the OCTA presentation included a sketch in it that showed where the retaining wall will go. And that retaining wall in the OCTA presentation was between the track and the bridge. So as soon as I saw that, I made another sketch. I didn't know how to go about it. So I sent it to Susie saying, well, if they put the wall between the track and the bridge is gone. So I moved the wall to the other side of the bridge. So well, this is probably the proper way to do it.
Okay. Thank you. That was the beeper there. So.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
You want to
finish that thought.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
That's my question.
So then I was at the same time attending the Friday beach coffee chat, and the issue came up. I asked people, what should I do? So they proposed, well, send the sketch over to your chief engineer here, reference project. I did that, talked with him, and had a very good talk, and I started to think, well, perhaps my background, I might be able to assist in some areas. Then I attended the leadership program and became more convinced that my background will fit in, given the opportunity. Of course, I'm not an architect or a landscape designer, and I have zero previous experience with the city. Actually, never had any time to get involved with the city issues at all when I was working. So, I'll
Thank
leave it
you.
at that.
Okay. Thank you. Mark?
Yeah. Hypothetical situation.
Sure.
You're a new owner, or there is a new owner of a dilapidated building, and they want to turn it into a hotel. However, it is across the street from a residential community. The new hotel will bring in much needed TOT tax, but the residents are worried about noise, rooftop bars, parking, and view obstruction. The design has met all design requirements by our ordinances. You could require changes such as more parking spaces or no rooftop bar, but the developer might pull out because of delays or expenses. What would you do in that situation?
Well, interesting question. I think you already have a situation for the hotel next to the outlet malls. Similar situation. I heard about it. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. You want the tax at the same time. You are in a community and you have to listen to the people. So we've got to find a solution. What is the solution? Can I put a sound buffer wall? I mean, we do that all the time around the highways and so on. And I don't mean block walls, but you have other manufactured walls that can absorb the noise. Now, of course, that depends whether it violates any of the other city requirements. So I think I cannot ignore the wishes of the community. You have to listen to them, but at the same time, you have to do everything that's possible to make sure that you can explain to them if you want to go with it. So one of the things I might do a small, if it was all up to me, I don't know if I can ask the city to do all that, but I might work with the developer and see if I want to do a noise survey. Because you have to establish a background noise. I might want to say, okay, let's see what my background noise is and what would the impact of this new noise that's generated. So, there's few things to look at before you say no or yes.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
You have a very interesting background.
Thank you.
and welcome to the city. I know you've been a part-time resident. Welcome as a full-time resident.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, Jay, thank you for
Well,
your
thank you
time.
very much.
I appreciate your,
Thank you,
your
Jay.
application.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks.
I guess Steve Camp is the
Yes.
next one, yeah.
He's here.
Next and last.
All right.
Yes.
Let me use a quick.
Catches the building on fire.
We would have known. We've all been in here. I was going to ask if anyone found out we moved that package.
No. We didn't get evacuated, so.
Yeah.
It must have been.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, here we go. So.
We're gonna sit over here.
Yeah, sit there.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
I'm tired of sitting, but that's all right.
Yeah, you've been.
Hey, well, stand in
been there a
line,
while, yeah.
mister.
Yeah.
Well, we need to segment this thing out next year. This is just not right.
Yeah.
So,
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Laura and she goes, well, planning commission's last, so you could be there a while.
Yeah.
At least I was warm. I brought some work.
well, and we're lucky. A lot of people didn't show up. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, this will be going on another hour. It's so we kind of.
Mr. Lewis,
Stephen, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
Greetings. Greetings. You missed the deadline, but you're here. Welcome.
It was unintentional.
We have kind of a limited time frame, but you're the last, so you got a minute and a half, 90 seconds for a brief summary, then we'll ask questions. You have about 1 minute to answer the question. The clerk will be our timekeeper. So welcome, and let's hear from you.
Thank you. Well, as you may or may not know, I served on planning commission for the last 4 years. Prior to that, and actually continuing to run an architecture business in Orange County, but I have enough flexibility that I can show up to most of the meetings, which I have. I've also served on the design review subcommittee as the chairman for the last couple of years, and so it's been educational. I've found that there's a lot more work involved than I expected, but part of that is getting prepared, to support development. I'm definitely interested in supporting development, but there's a balance. And I also know that I have 6 other commissioners I need to work with, and I think we have good rapport. I don't know if there are going to be, it sounds like Bart Crandall's not coming back, but other than that, I think we have really good rapport with the group, which is not an easy thing. When you've got 7 folks of different 7 different folks with different backgrounds, but it seems like we have a good working relationship. I'm really interested in the design review subcommittee. I think it's an important aspect to what we do. It's a little controversial, I think, because people don't realize the benefit of it. I guess my time's up. I did email the application on you guys, so you got that.
Thank you.
I bet you have a question.
Yeah. All right. Purely hypothetical situation. So there's a new owner of a dilapidated building who wants to turn it into a hotel. However, it's across the street from a residential community. The new hotel will bring in much needed TOT tax, but the residents are worried about noise, a rooftop bar, parking, and view obstruction. The design has met all design requirements by our ordinances. You could require changes such as more parking spaces or no rooftop bar, but the developer might pull out because of delays or expenses. What would you do in that situation?
Well, you say a dilapidated building, so I assume it would be torn down, most likely. That's the implication.
Hypothetical. I mean, they could remodel it or
Disrepair.
disrepair. Yeah, disrepair. Yeah.
I mean, we focus on the rights of the developer in terms of the zoning, what the zoning allows. Things like outdoor, noise generation and things like that are difficult for neighbors to deal with. But I would be pushing, if it was well designed, as you said, it met all the requirements, it was Spanish Colonial Revival, I would be pushing to find a way to approve that project. Design review subcommittee is a benefit. I think it would need to go through that. And in that case, what we do is we prepare the developer to get to Planning Commission. We're very clear, we're not an approval body at the design review subcommittee level, but we can give insight about what needs to happen to the Planning Commission, which will help it to get approved quicker. Residents, and I don't know if I have a time limit on my answer.
It was 1 minute. That was perfect timing.
I want to hear. I will continue. I will use my question time to continue.
Go right ahead, finish.
Yeah, residents are emotional. And I understand it. They've had a certain environment that they've lived in for a certain number of years, and it's going to have an impact on that. But it was zoned for that use. When you buy a property, you know that those around you are going to build at some point. And so we typically will just try to get through, be as empathetic as possible with what we hear from the residents. Take that into some consideration, but I didn't hear anything that you mentioned that would prevent us from approving that project, and as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. Victor, questions?
No question.
Zen,
No
questions?
question, other than saying that I was in the same boat. I was on Planning Commission as well as the Design Review Subcommittee. Took a lot of time. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you, Rick. You had your question.
There's no questions.
I'm good with questions. So
Okay.
thank you, Steve.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks for allowing me to.
And thank you for serving.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Steve.
We probably, let's vote on this and then we'll go out there and adjourn the meeting and then we'll have,
And so all these
adjourn the 1 o'clock meeting. and
Did any of these
to
people
come back at
withdraw,
5:30.
or they just didn't show up for the interview?
Patrick Griffin left. He was here, and Chris Samuelson was not able to attend. He was out of town.
We have it's 3 selections, so we want to vote for 4.
Yeah, may I make a suggestion on this one, that we don't have to fill every position on this, and that if we don't, we could open it again to a future application.
Yeah, I'll come in on that. There's somebody else, a guy that's on the Historical Society, Paul. I can't remember his last name, but he did the same thing that Amanda and Steve did. He didn't see the notice, and he texted me a few minutes ago, and I said, well, it's about over now. I'm for something as important as a planning commission, I'm not really that thrilled with all of our. I mean, anybody that's here that gets on, it's fine. It's just that I do have a couple of concerns about a couple of things that candidates said politically, that this isn't a political position, and it concerns me. I mean, that's my thoughts.
So we
also.
have 3 vacancies. We have 6 applicants. So you're saying let's not select
I'm
the
just
3?
saying if we do our number system here, even with the numbers that come back, I would suggest with our top candidates that we vote yes or no individually on each one of them.
Each one of them?
Yeah.
Well, we have a system that we've employed.
We can. Well, first of all, we can always pick the top 3 or top 2 or top 1, right? So that solves your problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Steve's a foregone conclusion. He needs to be back on, I think, on the planning commission. He's the most qualified of everybody that's, even put in. And we let Amanda come in, and he came in. That's my feeling on him. The rest, I mean, I have one in mind, and probably you all have one in mind.
That's not on the list or that's
No. I have one in mind that's definitely not on the list. I wish you would have come in.
Unless we want the city clerk to re-advertise the position and bring more applicants, then.
Well, let's vote and see if we have 3 selections, and if we don't,
We
can
will
always-
have.
we can always-
However, we have 6 candidates here, so.
But I'm saying we can, even at the top, once we have the top 3, we don't have to say yes to all 3 of those.
No, we should have decided now. We can't. We should not come up
Decide
with
now what we're going to
the list
do.
and then decide.
Well, we can select 3 for the protocol we've selected, and if we identify those 3 that are top and the majority of our council doesn't want to approve them, we don't have to approve them.
Right.
We still have to vote on them.
We still have to vote on it.
so
And
we
if
have
no-
to make a motion.
Yeah, exactly. So with the three selections, we're going to vote on four. Is that we always go more than
3 or 4. I think 3
Okay.
is fine.
What's your preference? 3 or 4? Or
I think 3 on this one.
Okay, let's rank.
is that okay
3.
with the rest of the
Yeah,
council?
so, and we're adding Steve Camp on the end here.
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be 3, 2, 1 then.
3 to 1.
Five. It's already after 5.
We're in closed session, though. We didn't have to do anything with the public, though.
Well, this is a public meeting that we're in.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So we need to probably adjourn the special meeting. We're in a special meeting. We need to adjourn that and just come back at 5:30 and we'll hold our closed session after the council meeting.
Or Elizabeth did say that closed session would only take about 15 minutes, so you could probably squeeze it in.
So just speed through and stay at the 5:30 regular?
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine with me.
Where all these paper clips came from, was all those ballots.
Really.
Okay, so Steve Camp has 14, followed by Brett Freeman with 8 votes, followed by Thor Johnson with 5 votes, Patrick Griffin with 2 votes.
Okay, so our 3 top vote getters are Brent, Thor, and Steve.
Actually, Laura,
what-
it's not a number of votes. It's the score.
Is the score. Camp
Yeah,
got the
so-
most, then Thor, then Brett.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Then Brett, then Johnson. So I hear some concern. You want to expand this beyond these 3. Is that your? I hear you got a concern on that.
I would not, if we're going to vote on this as a slate, I will vote no. If we vote on these as individuals, there might be some that I would vote yes for or no for. But I'm concerned, especially with one of the people that are on there.
And
Who is
who's
the
that?
4th one?
Thor?
Yep.
Okay.
Laura, who's the 4th one?
Patrick Griffin.
Okay.
And what were the difference in votes between those?
So
So the
Steve,
third, so let's say if Thor doesn't get a majority of approval, then we move down to Patrick.
Well,
We can do what we want.
we can pick who we want, and Mark is suggesting he's not going to vote for these 3. Is there a motion to support these 3?
I'll move to support the 3.
I'll second the motion. Is there a substitute motion, or is there? If not,
I will
I'll
make
call for
a
the question.
I'll make a substitute motion to support the top 2
The top 2 being Steve Camp
and Brett.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Well, I'll second it.
Okay, let's have
Did
a
you
let's
have
have
an
a mo-
alternative? Just
No,
Okay.
I think the majority of the council is to probably, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that.
We have a
but-
motion on the floor. Is there a
yeah.
second?
I seconded it.
Okay, then let's hit vote. Let's vote on the Mark's motion to appoint Steve Camp and Brett Freeman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No?
Well, wait a
Opposed?
second, wait a second.
This is a motion, Mark's motion to appoint Steve Camp and Brett Freeman. Only.
As a substitute.
To appoint those two, and not the third.
But there will be a motion, I'm sure, to appoint the third
He didn't
one.
say about a third. He's
The
saying.
motion is to appoint Steve Camp and Brett Freeman. And that was a voice, you voted yes, yes,
I voted yes.
yes.
Okay.
I
But
vote
there
no.
could be another vote.
There could be
Well,
another
let's take
motion,
one
yeah.
vote at a time. I vote no on that motion.
I'll vote yes, because I'm
Okay.
going to appoint those two.
So that's 4-1.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So they're
so
on
those
there.
two are appointed, Steve Camp and Brett. And now we've got one more vacancy.
I would make a motion that we reopen the pool for another chance to apply.
You mean open the time frame for everyone to apply?
Yes.
Okay, that's your request, is there a motion? So, first of- okay,
So that's my motion. Is there a second?
is there a second?
I'll make a substitution that we.
There's no substitute, there's no motion approved yet. There's just
He has
a
a
motion,
second.
it could
There's no
die if no
second
one
on it.
seconds.
I'll make a second to reopen it. And for one reason for sure is we had a couple of people kind of walk in and we opened it. Well, I've had indications from other people of the same beef. Yeah, they didn't come down, but
Yeah.
you know that.
I mean, I would have liked to have heard in person, Patrick. And
Exactly.
Christopher,
And we just limited ourselves.
Okay,
we
so
have a
there's a
motion.
motion to open this up.
Well, now we're having. I've seconded it. Now that we
I
have
have a
discussion.
substitute motion. I have a substitute to the motion.
Let me understand the first motion. The motion is to reopen the appointment process for what period of time? For
Could I make the suggestion that we have it open until our next council meeting, August 4th?
Yes.
Yeah, because everything's like dark.
Okay, so you're asking then for applications to be submitted prior to our next meeting in early August, and then have that agendized as a special meeting for consideration?
Yes.
Okay, that's the motion. Is that the motion you're seconding?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a substitute motion.
What's your
to
substitute motion?
Appoint Patrick Griffin.
That you appoint Patrick Griffin. Well, okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Oh, that interview. I'd like to hear from
Not-
them.
Okay, there's a motion and a second for the substitute motion. The substitute motion will be heard first. All in favor of the substitute motion to appoint Patrick Griffin?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm a no.
I'm a no because I would have liked to have heard him, but you know.
Three,
that's-
3-2, so Patrick Griffin is then the third appointee. So we've appointed Camp, Griffin, and Freeman. Okay. That's the decision, and we'll need to go out there and close the special meeting and announce that we're reopening at 5:30. That gives us 15 to 17 minutes to have a quick